The only thing we're trying to figure out is where Harmony is, okay?
Okay.
Where's your daughter so we can check on her and make sure that she's okay?
Right now, I have nothing to say to you guys.
But that's not what I'm just asking where she is.
I have nothing to say.
If you know anything, like, if you thought you saw her, tell the police.
Did you believe she was still alive?
I did.
Why a judge would have placed Harmony in the custody of this monster.
I love my daughter unconditionally, and I did not kill her.
For more than 2 years, a little girl who was supposed to be living in Manchester, New Hampshire, had not been seen by anyone in authority who could confirm she was safe. Her name was Harmony. She was 5 years old, and the last time anyone from outside her home officially laid eyes on her was a brief interaction with police in late 2019. Her parents had already been separated for years, and in early 2019, a court had granted her father legal custody. Her mother had tried to stay in contact, asking for photos, video calls, anything, just proof that her daughter was okay. For a while, there were calls, then they stopped. Messages went unanswered, months went by, then years, with no direct contact. At first, people were told she's fine, that she was living with her father, that everything was normal. But as time passed, something didn't add up. She wasn't in school. She wasn't listed at any current address. There were no recent medical records, no new pictures anyone could verify. It was as if she had simply vanished from the systems that track a child's life. Then late one night, officers finally came face to face with her father, Adam Montgomery.
Show me your hands.
You guys want to code it all, or you guys good?
Keep your hands where I can see them. Step on out. Hey, keep your hands where I can see them.
What's going on?
What's your name, my man?
What? Adam.
Adam.
They didn't accuse him of anything. They didn't come with flashing lights or handcuffs. They just wanted to see his child, to confirm she existed, to confirm she was safe.
What's the problem right now?
All right.
Oh, wait.
Am I under arrest?
No, you're not, man. You're not. You don't have any warrants, right?
All right, I got nothing to say.
Adam, right? Montgomery?
Yeah.
Do you remember me from the Elliott Hospital from a while back, man?
Yeah, I got nothing to say.
Right. So, hey, man, the only thing we're trying to figure out is where Harmony is, okay?
Okay.
So, the concern is that she hasn't seen you, right? You're not in trouble. Nobody said you're losing your daughter, right?
Okay.
So I want to make that clear. Just want to let you know I have my body cam on, too, just like everybody else is being on your video recording. So you just need to find out where she is. That's all I'm concerned about. You're not in any trouble right now that I know of.
Okay.
You have no warrants.
Okay.
So, where's your daughter so we can check on her to make sure that she's okay?
Right now, I have nothing to say to you guys.
But that's not what I'm just asking
Okay,
where she is.
I have nothing to say.
But when they asked him where she was, he didn't show concern. He didn't show panic. He didn't try to give a clear explanation.
So you don't care if your daughter's okay or not?
I do. Listen, I have nothing to say.
Is your daughter...
If I'm under arrest, you guys can arrest me.
I'm not saying you're under arrest.
Okay, I have nothing to say then.
You just don't care how your daughter...
I do. Obviously, I do. My kids.
Yeah.
About all my kids. Yeah, but other than that, I have nothing.
I remember you talking to me about it at the Elliott, because when you were up there, you don't remember me, John.
Yeah, I do remember.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was there to help you out then.
I know.
I want to make sure you're doing okay.
I know you do. I know you will.
And I have a job to do. Like I said, you're not in any trouble. I'm telling you dead ass right now, you're not in any trouble.
Okay.
I care about how your kids are doing, okay? My job is to check on kids, all right?
John, I appreciate that. I told you. I remember you from up there. I don't have nothing else to say.
He just told them he had nothing to say.
So you didn't do anything wrong. If you're telling me that she's in your custody, there's paperwork that says she's supposed to be in your custody, right? She's not supposed to be in mom's custody, right?
Can't be your mom's custody.
She's not in mom's custody. Because I talked to her. And she's not accusing you of doing anything wrong, but she's worried about her daughter. So how you guys work that out in court is up to you guys. But like I said, you have custody of her. You didn't do anything wrong because you have custody of her. So I just need to know that she's okay. If she's okay, I can say, hey, DCYF, she's fine. Like, we know where she is. We check on her. Cool. Like, that's the end of it. And I don't have to bother you anymore. You and your girl can go on your way as long as I know where she is and she's safe. That's all I really care about.
I have nothing else to say, John.
Harmony, I don't know where she is. Mom's concerned. DCYF is concerned. If you can get DCYF your back, wouldn't you want to do that? Like, do you want DCYF trying to track you down?
I mean, I'll deal with DCYF, man. Like, I don't.
But they're going to ask you the same thing. Do you want to keep dealing with them?
Whatever.
And that's when investigators realized this wasn't just a worried parent situation anymore. This was a child who had quietly disappeared.
So she's alive.
What?
Your daughter's alive?
Yeah,
You're sure?
I'm positive.
You're like, swear on your life.
I swear on my life.
When's the last time you saw her alive? You know that she's fine. Like, you can assure me that she's alive.
I know she's fine. All right, look, I have nothing else to say, guys. I really don't. I have nothing else to say to you guys.
But you can tell me, like, that. You can look me right in the eye and tell me that she's alive.
She's alive.
Dude, if nobody has seen her in like 2 years, they're saying, like, alive. Like, I talked to your family. Nobody's even seen her either from your family. I know they're all down in Florida. They're concerned too, man. Like, I talked to, like, your brother, talked to your uncle, talked to your grandma. We talked to a lot of people, man. I'm not just fucking around with this. Like,
All right.
so, like, you understand, like, people stopped you. Like, they had us come out from the office. Like, dude, if my kid was missing for 2 years, like, I'd be the first one to start kicking doors down.
Up until right now, I had no idea she was missing.
To understand how Harmony disappeared, you first have to understand how she ended up in his care. Her parents separated when she was still very young, and after years of instability and involvement from child protection agencies, a court eventually placed legal custody with her father in early 2019. At the time, that decision was meant to give Harmony stability, but behind closed doors, that stability never really existed. Harmony's life had already been filled with changes, moving between adults, different homes, and a system that struggled to provide consistency. And when she finally went to live full-time with her father in New Hampshire, many believed things might finally settle down. But inside that home, things were far from normal. By the time anyone in authority started asking serious questions, Harmony was already gone. Not officially, not on paper at first, but gone from the world around her. By the time authorities fully realized something was wrong, Harmony hadn't just been hard to locate. She had vanished from every system that normally tracks a child's life.
The search for missing 7-year-old Harmony Montgomery has led investigators to Guilford Street here in Manchester. You can see here behind me, police have blocked off this road. The search itself is happening at number 77 Guilford Street.
Back in January, we announced that then 5-year-old Harmony likely disappeared sometime between November 28th and December 10th of 2019. Since that announcement, members of my office, members of the Manchester Police Department, the U.S. Marshal Service, the FBI, and other law enforcement partners have been diligently continuing to work this case. In total, these agencies working together have devoted thousands of hours gathering evidence and pursuing numerous leads.
Quite frankly, enough is enough. It's a 7-year-old girl. Let's find her.
It was like her name had slowly been erased, so they went back to the last place she was known to live, a quiet neighborhood in Manchester, New Hampshire. Neighbors were interviewed.
Manchester, New Hampshire residents are troubled and saddened over the disappearance of 7-year-old Harmony Montgomery. On Saturday, Manchester police and other law enforcement returned to 77 Guilford Street to look for clues of her whereabouts. This is the last place where Harmony was known to live.
2 years, I mean, what happened to DCYF and all this, they were supposed to be taken care of.
Some said they remembered a little girl. Some said it had been a long time since they'd seen her. Others couldn't remember her at all. And when investigators finally tracked down her father again, they gave him every chance to clear things up. They asked one simple thing: help us find her. Tell us where she is.
So that's paperwork that's saying you gotta give up custody of your kid? Harmony. No, just being served it. So you're gonna have to produce where all that, where your daughter's at. We're gonna be taking your phone.
It's not my phone.
Okay, but it's ours now. So, you know how to get a hold of me if you decide you want to come down and have a conversation with me. But I think you need to do the right thing and kind of have more of a conversation with me. So we're gonna figure this out one way or another. It's not going away. It's gonna get really big real quick, and it's not gonna be good if we get on the wrong side of it. You know what I mean? So we've gone down this road before.
Yep.
You know how to get a hold of me, all right? You're free to go.
But instead of giving an address, his story kept shifting. The more investigators looked into Harmony's past, the more uncomfortable the story became.
He said he dropped her off. Mom came up from Mass around Thanksgiving of 2019. Mom saying, I haven't seen her since Easter of 2019. Girlfriend who lives here saying he brought her down there in Christmas of 2019.
This kid's dead.
Probably. That or they ditched him with a relative somewhere. They just don't want to give her up so the mom doesn't get custody. But, like, nobody's been concerned enough for this long besides mom, who's kind of...
What, 2 years?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I think the fall of 2019 was the last time anybody had, like, eyes on this kid.
Okay.
But the kid was 5.
Right.
So barely old enough to be in school. So, I mean, if you think about it, if a kid doesn't go into school, there's, like, no way of really tracking kids.
Right. That's
They
what I
just
was
kinda
asking.
fall
Like,
through
how
the
come
cracks.
there's no record for school for this?
Yeah.
The kid was probably right at that age where...
This is his phone. It's a Wi-Fi only phone. So
That's his phone?
probably his or the new girlfriend. So
Well, that's good.
she wanted a lawyer.
She did?
Yeah.
Oh, but everything's okay.
Right. She'll, the thing is, you hope she comes in for like a proffer or something like that, if that's what she decides to do. So
He's such a scumbag, man.
School officials had no record of her attending any local school. There were no recent medical visits in her name, no confirmed current addresses, no reliable, recent sightings, just scattered memories and unanswered questions. He gave one timeline, others gave a different one. Dates shifted, details changed. At one point, he claimed she had gone to live with her mother, then with other family members. But when investigators looked into that, no one had her. No relatives, no friends, no one. It wasn't just that she was missing. It was that it seemed like an entire story had been built to cover her absence. And with every new contradiction, the truth felt further away, until investigators had to face the possibility no one wanted to think about, that Harmony hadn't just vanished recently, she'd been gone a long time, much longer than anyone had admitted. As the timeline collapsed, the pressure started to rise, not just on investigators, but on the one person who held most of the answers, her father. At first, he tried to distance himself from the questions. Short replies, no detail, no clear explanations. But the more inconsistencies detectives uncovered, the harder it became for him to keep everything straight, because one story can only hold when no one checks the facts. And now, every fact was being checked. When he claimed she was living with family, those relatives were contacted. None of them had seen her. When he claimed she had moved out of state, that lead was followed. No records, no proof. Each answer created another dead end, another false trail, and slowly, the story he had built over years started collapsing in on itself. At the same time, public attention started to grow. Once it became clear that this child had been missing for around 2 years before anyone reported it, people were outraged. Her face was shared, her name spread, searches began, tips poured in from multiple states, not because of a detailed roadmap from authorities, but because people saw what had happened and refused to ignore it. After months of dead ends, something finally changed. Not because of a single dramatic discovery, not because of a sudden confession on day one, but because the lies started to crack. The stories that once lined up no longer did. People who had stayed quiet before started rethinking what they knew, what they'd been told, what they'd seen. And when investigators went back over their statements, details didn't match anymore. Locations didn't line up, timelines drifted. Key moments were suddenly remembered differently. That's when they realized they had been relying on a version of events that was never true to begin with. And once that door opened, they didn't stop. They retraced old steps. They rechecked places that had already been cleared. They reviewed records that once seemed unimportant. Places that once looked ordinary now felt significant. Times that once seemed minor became critical. And slowly, a clearer picture started to form, not just of where Harmony might have been, but of when everything truly changed. Because there is always a point in cases like this, a moment where a child stops being present in someone's life and instead becomes part of a story meant to cover their absence. And once investigators started identifying that moment, the entire case shifted. The focus wasn't just about finding her anymore. It became about understanding what happened during the time everyone else missed. Behind the scenes, evidence and testimony would later reveal something even darker, that Harmony had been killed in December 2019 when her father repeatedly struck her in the head while they were in a car, and that her body was moved and concealed before being disposed of months later. Her remains have never been found.
Court documents released today reveal horrific new details in the case of Harmony Montgomery. The search for the missing 5-year-old from New Hampshire captured the attention of people around the country. Ultimately, Harmony was declared dead, and prosecutors accused her father, Adam Montgomery, of killing her. The new documents detail how and when Harmony allegedly died and what happened to her body. We want to warn you, the details are disturbing.
New information's been released in the death of Harmony Montgomery, and we do want to warn you, some of the details are graphic. An arrest affidavit for her father, Adam Montgomery, reveals how prosecutors believe the little girl died. Montgomery's estranged wife, Kayla, told investigators that in 2019, Adam hit his daughter after she had had an accident in the car. She also said that he put Harmony's body in bags and coolers, and over the next few months moved them to several different locations until March 2020, when he finally rented a U-Haul to dispose of the girl's remains.
Harmony Montgomery was murdered in Manchester in early December of 2019. At this point, while Harmony's remains have not yet been located, we do have multiple sources of investigative information, including just recently confirmed biological evidence, that have led us to this difficult and tragic conclusion. As a result, today I am announcing that this is now officially a homicide investigation.
Once the cracks formed, investigators pushed harder.
Second-degree assault charge, what is this referring to?
Well, that's what we want to talk to you about.
Well, explain to me, if I'm being charged with it, what the hell am I being charged with it for?
Well, your daughter had some injuries that you know about when you lived on Guilford Street.
No, I do not. What are you referring to?
Well, you were there, I wasn't, right?
Well, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to her having some good marks.
What are you referring to?
Marks that were left on her by you.
Absolutely not. I have nothing else to say.
We talked about how we were worried about your daughter the other day, right?
Okay.
You remember that conversation?
I remember that conversation, but right off the rip, with the way you're approaching the conversation, you guys are completely out of line. So.
Me?
Yeah.
Do I? In the time that you've known me,
which what you just said to me, you guys are completely out of line.
Okay, but so explain to me, how are we out of line?
I have nothing to explain.
Okay, but wouldn't you rather explain it so we can make sense of it than just have other people's side of the story? Like, you want to defend yourself and like this picture people are painting of you? Now's your chance, man. Defend.
Whose side of the story? Who's telling you these things?
People that were close to you.
Obviously not.
Well, maybe at the time, maybe not anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw that reward on the news, right?
No, I did not.
Do you know that the reward is about $40,000 to find where your daughter is right now?
Okay.
When you start throwing money around like that, people come out of the woodwork that you would never expect to do.
Okay.
So, like I said, when I talked to you a few days ago...
Can I have another cigarette?
Sure. I kind of told you this thing was going to get a lot bigger.
That's not right.
And we wanted to get ahead of it.
But you're sitting there telling me that, right off the rip, that there was something wrong with my daughter because of me. No, that's bullshit.
Okay.
They went back over statements, rechecked timelines, compared what was said with what could actually be proven, and that's when the story finally started to shift.
What are you referring to?
Your daughter had a mark on her face that people, multiple people, have told us was inflicted by you.
Multiple people that weren't even living with us at the time.
Well, there was enough people that had spoken about it.
Yeah.
people share knowledge of what they know.
So somebody, you telling him, and then he tells you, and then he tells you, so something that just
No,
gets
it's-
passed down the line.
It's yeah, I'm not talking about like a game of telephone here. I'm saying that people say a story and then the details kind of fill themselves in, like corroborate. Do you know what the word corroborate means?
Of course I do.
Okay. So what time did DCYF get involved with you guys? Like, were they over there often, or was it just like a certain period of time? Or
They were there every single day. The police showed up every single day, saying because that's what it was. That's what it was due. That's what it was due to. So Kevin moved out because between me and my wife and Kevin, we were supposed to like pay the bills, keep the heat on, the gas on, whatever. Well, Kevin was supposed to pay the electric bill. He didn't pay the electric bill. Me and my wife, I picked my wife from work and showed up at home. They were shutting the electricity off. So me and Kevin got into an argument about not paying the bill.
Yeah.
And he took his shit and moved out. And then so the next day, or 2 days later, something like that, I don't know, DCYF showed up and the police showed up because they said that we were unfit to have the children at the house because there was no electricity in the house.
Okay.
But we had a generator running, we had the fridge hooked up to it, there was food in the fridge, everything was fine. The police showed up, seen that the kids was fine, there was nothing wrong with them. The DCYF showed up and they left.
And was that like summer, fall? Like when was that?
I want to say maybe spring, going into summer, maybe.
Oh, okay. So like, you guys hadn't been there for too long then.
6 months or so.
Okay.
People who had once repeated the same version of events began giving different answers. Small changes at first, then bigger ones. Dates that used to be certain suddenly weren't. Places that were definitely where she was could no longer be confirmed because the truth had never been properly told. It had been held together by fear, pressure, and silence.
Why is it that you refuse to talk about her every time we bring her up?
Because you guys are just sitting here beating a bush. It's over and over. You guys asked me what happened the other day. I told you what happened.
You wouldn't tell us the other day.
You guys talked to me the other day. I explained to him what happened the other day, and now it was just a charade. Yep. No, don't worry about it. You're not under arrest, and I'll come up with some bullshit.
We didn't arrest you.
No, the other day. No, but then you had a SWAT team roll up on me and the D-Techs follow me around for the last 3 days.
Yeah, people are coming out of the woodwork. That's what we're trying to tell you. Like, we don't want you to be painted as a monster. We want you to maybe explain yourself a little bit and give us some side of your story. We have nothing. We have just what we're hearing from people. $40,000 to drag a lot of people out, whether you believe you're your friends or not.
No, I bet
it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I know it is. Absolutely it is.
That's what we're trying to get. Now's your time. Like, you keep locking up on us. You don't want to tell us anything about her.
No, I got nothing else to say.
I think you care
about all my kids.
Right. But the one I care the most about is your daughter, Harmony. And we have people around the clock calling into us, giving us tips from all over the country because they care too to try to find where she is. My only goal, which I told you the other day, is to make sure that she's safe. I don't want you to get tied into something if you didn't do anything wrong. My job is not to jam somebody up for something that they didn't do wrong. And if you can tell me that you didn't do anything wrong, then I want to believe you because, dude, I've met you now a few times. I helped you out when you were at the hospital when you were having a meltdown. You told me about your kids. I sat there and I talked to you. Dude, I could have tased you right there, and I didn't do that because I saw deep down inside that you were hurting and that I wanted to help you. Right now, all I'm trying to do is help your daughter. I want to bring her home, and I can't do that without your help. Dude, I can't do that without your help. Help, hey, can you look at me? Help me, please. That's all I'm asking for. I can't sleep until I know that she's okay. And I know that you know where she is or what happened to her, but I can't do it without your help. And if you don't want to look like this animal, because I don't think you are. Not that I don't think you are, I know you aren't. But I can only do so much for you, man.
I know.
I'm begging you to help me. Because as much as you're hurting inside, I'm also hurting inside, and I don't know how you can sleep at night, because I'm sure it's eating the shit out of you. Am I wrong?
No, it's eating me apart. I know I'm not seeing my wife, I'm not seeing my kids. You guys are just playing games. Like, this is just...
Dude, but I'm not trying...
We're not trying to play games again,
Good. Like, telling my wife and kids that I'm not allowed to see my wife and kids. Like,
but dude, that was a mistake from some court paperwork that hadn't been updated. So like I said, I apologize for that.
But it was updated. DCYF told them.
No. This was some like DV paperwork I'm talking about.
But I'm talking about DCYF already told us multiple times that there was no contact order.
Maybe through DCYF, but
it could have been through DCYF.
Yeah.
So let's forget about it.
Right,
You've seen your wife and kids over the last how many days, right?
I haven't seen them in the last I haven't seen my kids in the last 2 days, 3 days.
Okay. You're always going to be their father? Declan, Seamus, and then Sierra, right? Kiera. And then there's Harmony.
I got nothing else to say. That's it. That's it, guys. I got nothing else to say.
Can you make me a promise? Like, man to man? Can you tell me that she's alive?
You're gonna play the same word games that you played with me the other day.
It's not word games.
I got nothing else
Because we
to
care,
say.
man. We want to know.
This isn't gonna go anywhere. Like, this isn't gonna stop. So
No, I know it's not.
So either get on the bus now or get run over.
Well, I got nothing else to say.
Why is it you have so much trouble talking about Harmony?
Guys, I got nothing else to say. I want a lawyer with me.
From there, what they uncovered wasn't a mystery about where a child had simply gone. It was a story about what happens when abuse goes unnoticed and silence fills the gaps. When all the timelines were finally laid out, when every version of events had been tested, one reality became impossible to avoid.
Harmony Montgomery by her own father, Adam Montgomery, after having a bathroom accident in the car they were living in. Kayla Montgomery telling investigators they were evicted from their Guilford Street home around Thanksgiving in 2019. Adam was hitting her over potty training regularly. Their 2 young boys were sitting in the back seat with Harmony on December 7th when she had one last accident.
In the end, Harmony's story wasn't resolved by luck. It wasn't solved by chance. It was moved forward because the lies eventually became too heavy to hide, too many contradictions, too many pieces that no longer fit. And when everything finally came together in court, it revealed something far more painful than a mystery.
I could have had a meaningful life and a led opportunity through drugs, but I loved my daughter unconditionally, and I did not kill her.
As to charge ID 193-794-7C, charging the defendant, Adam Montgomery, with the crime of second-degree. Do you find the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Guilty. Not just a missing child, but a child who had been failed over and over again before she was ever officially reported gone. By the people who ignored the warning signs, by the systems that trusted the wrong voices, by everyone who should have looked closer, sooner. Harmony didn't disappear overnight. She disappeared in silence, in missed reports, in unanswered calls, in assumptions that "she's fine" was good enough. And her story stands as a reminder of one simple truth. Children don't just vanish from the world. They're lost when the world stops paying attention.
What's going on, man? I just wanted to report a murder that I did a long time ago. Okay, a long time ago?
Yeah.
Or today?
A long time ago.
What is that?
I buried him in his house.
911, what's the address of your emergency? Sir, tell me exactly what happened.
Well, I killed somebody.
You killed somebody?
Yes, sir.
May 1st, 2023. Police found Tony Ray Peralta sitting on a curb not far from the convenience store, sweating, taking puffs from his cigarette, a former drug addict, a former tenant, and possibly the last person to see 69-year-old William Blodgett alive.
Okay.
5th Street.
What's the address?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, sir.
How'd you get up here? You walked?
Yeah.
This is a long time ago, is what he's saying.
I'm just tired of covering it up already.
Try to cover it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm tired of living with my wife, sir.
The guilt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Peralta didn't look panicked. He didn't look scared. He looked relieved, as if he'd finally set down a burden he'd been carrying for over a decade.
Let's go. Okay. You don't want to finish it? You're good there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, just hang on, okay? You say you killed him?
Yeah.
Where at?
At his house.
At his house? What year was this at?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Okay.
It's been so long.
It's been a long time. Okay, we're going to go all the way around over here. Okay, my car's way over there, so we're going to walk this way.
Thank you guys for coming.
Absolutely.
Handcuffed and placed in the back of a patrol car, Tony Peralta began directing officers through Roswell's quiet streets.
So as down as you can be on the...
It's right here. The next house.
This white one?
This white one here?
Yeah. I buried him in that side place right here. I killed their dad. Here, hey, you see this side little door right here?
Uh-huh.
I buried him right there.
Okay.
Like in the little building?
Yes, sir.
At the very end?
Hey, why didn't anybody smell it?
I'm sorry?
Why didn't they smell his body in there?
I don't know. Hang on, okay?
His directions led them to a small, aging property off 5th Street, a quiet house, the kind you'd drive past every day without a second thought, just an ordinary home with something unthinkable buried behind it. For officers, this was the most dangerous part of the entire case. At times, the authorities asked if Peralta was making up the story and leading them on a goose chase.
We need some more details.
All right, what do you want?
To be able to prove it.
Okay.
So, let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
What year do you think this was?
I don't remember.
How old do you think you were?
I don't remember.
What does the victim look like? Or what
I
did
don't
the victim
remember.
look like? What do you mean you don't remember?
I don't remember. I just know that I killed him.
Why do you know that?
Because I know that I killed him and I kept it a secret.
Okay. Why did you keep it a secret?
Because I didn't.
How long have you been keeping it a secret for?
A long time.
Like how long?
Like 7 years maybe.
Yeah. You see how all your answers are I don't know? That's what we're having a hard time with.
Well, I said I did it.
Yeah. But we need a lot more detail than that in order to get the full picture of it, right? And if this person's dead in here and has been dead for a long time, they got a family, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the family's probably missing them.
Okay.
They probably deserve answers on what happened, right?
Yeah.
So do you want to give them that?
I was high and I didn't.
Okay. What were you high on?
Meth.
Meth? Smoke it or shoot?
I shot it.
Shot it? How much did you use a day?
A lot.
A lot. Are you still using?
No, sir.
No.
That's
Okay.
probably why I'm confessing.
So what was the reason that you killed him?
I don't have a reason.
You didn't have a reason? So were you guys arguing?
No, I just felt stupid one day, I guess.
You just felt dumb? What was he doing when you killed him?
Being a good man.
Was he sitting, sleeping, standing, reading, watching TV?
I don't know.
You don't remember? But you killed him in a tub?
No,
That's what you said earlier.
I didn't say that earlier.
What did you say?
I said I killed him, that was it.
No, you said in the bathroom, in the tub. How'd you kill him?
I didn't say that.
How'd you kill him?
I said I killed him, that was it.
No, you didn't. You told me how earlier.
Well, he's right there.
Well, we're gonna go see if he's in there.
Okay.
But how'd you kill him?
I killed him.
How? Did you shoot him?
No.
Did you hit him with a bat?
I killed him.
How'd you kill him?
I don't remember.
Did you stab him?
I don't remember.
You did earlier.
I did earlier.
You're just repeating the things that I'm saying now. You see how I don't believe you? If I just came to you and I just said all the time, I don't know, I don't remember, would you believe anything I'm saying? You said, hey sir, what's the law on this? And said, I don't know. You think you trust me? That's why I'm having a hard time trusting you.
I know. I said a guild person is in the house.
Yeah? We're going to go try and find him.
Okay.
But I don't have the details on where he's at.
I told you where he was at.
Where's he at inside the house? Huh?
For 15 years, this house had just existed. Families moved through the neighborhood, kids walked by on their way to school, neighbors cut their lawns in summer, all while the remains of William Blodgett lay just feet away beneath the ground. Tony had led them to the house, but until they confirmed what was buried there, everything he said was still just a story.
Just a few inches, right?
I think it is. There's the I think it's the boot, and that's the bottom sole of it.
Yep. Grab it and pull and see if a foot pulls out.
Okay. I'm getting very excited. Oh, check that. Yep. Yep. Yep.
There's one.
Yep. 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 Okay. All right. Well, let's get out.
Investigators obtained a search warrant and found, beneath plywood floorboards, in a detached room on the side of the house, a boot, bones, a skull, and dentures. The dentures were compared with William Blodgett's dental records, obtained in early 2009 after he was reported missing. Positive identification. The moment that boot came into view, this stopped being a welfare response and became a homicide scene. A 15-year-old secret just broke through the surface. They didn't dig any further. Not yet. Preserving the site was more important than curiosity. For now, the rest of the truth would stay buried. The same place he had pictured in his mind for 15 years was now crawling with investigators. With the scene secured and forensic teams moving in, Tony Ray Peralta was being transported for formal questioning. Now that the body was confirmed, his words would matter more than ever.
So what's going to happen, okay? We're going to go to the police department, okay? We're going to find out some more information, okay? The detectives are going to talk with you about more information with it, okay? And then we'll address it from there, okay? All right, so hang on, okay? Sit up for me, man.
It hurts, dude.
What hurts?
My handcuffs.
Okay, we're going to get them off here right now. We're going to go this way. Just stand right here and face this wall real quick. Okay, have a seat. Hold on.
But I didn't know how to confess to him.
Okay, have a seat real quick.
All right.
So here's what we're going to do, okay? I'm going to unhandcuff you from here, okay? And then I'm going to put them in the front, okay? And then I'm going to let you carry your water, and we're going to take you to the detectives because they're going to talk with you more, okay? All right, we're just going to go straight ahead, okay? Just have a seat in that chair in the corner right there. This one. The other one. That one. All right. Hang on, they're going to be with you right now. Hold on.
For the first time, after 15 years of silence, Tony Peralta was no longer hiding. All he wanted now was to tell the truth, and what the police were about to uncover was far more disturbing than anyone was prepared for.
So, you called us, but it's kind of mixed messages. You had handcuffs in there.
I killed somebody, dude, and I buried him.
Okay. Do you feel like you're able to leave if you wanted, or do you want to be here?
Yeah, I confessed to a murder.
Okay. How much have you had to drink today?
A lot.
A lot?
Yeah. When you find his body, dude, it'll make you feel better. It's at his house.
That'll make you feel better?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to live with him anymore.
Okay, I understand that. Did it happen at the house?
It did.
It did?
I was on meth really bad.
Okay.
And I killed him because he didn't give me no money. And I buried him in his house.
In his house? Do you remember his name?
His name was Bill.
His name was Bill?
Everybody talks about it all the time.
Okay. How long ago?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Too long. Too long, boss. Don't ever say, don't kill nobody that you don't have to.
Okay. Now, before we do this, you understand if we do find his body, then
you better find his body. It should be right there.
Okay.
Hey, I confess, man.
Mm-hmm.
I confess. I don't want to live life anymore without confessing.
Okay. Just for good measure, like you say, you got brought here in handcuffs. I know you called us. I know you want to do this because it's a strain on yourself. But I just want to make it clear that.
I'm not going to be that person.
Yeah, I want to make this perfectly clear that you're telling us it's good on you for doing it, but it'd be my job. I would have to prosecute this when we discover this. You understand that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and advise your rights just because it's kind of the statement.
You don't have to tell me my rights. I know. I don't even care if I go to jail for forever or get the death penalty.
This wasn't just a confession anymore. Now, it was an investigation, and Tony Peralta was the only person alive who knew the full story.
What time did you call the police department?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Tell me what happened, man.
I killed somebody a long time ago.
Okay. Why, what happened?
I don't know, sir.
I've been told his name is Bill, but it's really William, right?
I don't know.
You were living with him at the time? Okay. Back then, you guys had some kind of issue. Was it about a wallet? No? Do you remember what happened? Why?
I just remember I just needed to confess. That was it.
You know, I wasn't around back then, 2009. So, you know, my own curiosity is, you know, I want to know. And, you know, I can read the reports from back then, and that's why I said the wallet thing, because that's what we were told. I know he was an older guy. I know that you were living with him, right? You guys were roommates. He owned the place, right?
I don't know.
But he allowed you to stay there, like you were kind of renting. Did you pay him money to live there, or?
I don't remember.
He just, okay, but you guys were living together. All right.
The uniformed officers and detectives peppered him with questions about when the killing happened, how he did it, and why. Peralta kept answering that he didn't know or didn't remember. He acknowledged that he had been drinking a lot the day he called 911.
Did you use a gun?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, how about this one? Why don't you tell me why you decided to come forward?
Because my heart hurts.
It's been eating at you for a while?
Yeah.
I know this is probably a big hard decision you had to make. You've been thinking about it for a while?
Every day.
Yeah, I've never been in that position, but I can imagine how hard that decision was to step up and...
At least nobody doesn't have to worry anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine his family. You know, he was an older guy, but, you know, his family never knew what happened. And that's kind of where I stand, because I want to be able to tell them, you know, what happened.
Tell them that he was a good man and I should have did what I did. You know?
Okay. Yeah, it was... His son is the one that reported it to us back then about not being able to get a hold of his dad.
Why didn't anybody say anything after that? Why didn't everybody just let it slide?
What do you mean?
I don't know.
Okay. The cops talked to you back then, I assume?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Give me little details, Tony. What happened?
Do I have to speak or what?
No, you don't have to, man. I'm just talking to you. You don't have to tell me anything. You don't. You don't. I just want to know the story. I'm sure the family wants to know the story. You know, things...
He was always good to me, and I took his life for no reason. And I don't have an excuse.
What did you
A lot of people have an excuse. I don't have one.
William Blodgett, a landlord, a resident of Roswell, a man who had vanished in December 2008. Even now, Tony Peralta struggled to explain why he did it. No clear motive, no detailed memory, just vague admissions, drowned in guilt, and years of drug abuse. Tony told an officer that Blodgett was a good man and that he took his life for no reason while high on methamphetamine. A tearful Peralta told police he didn't know why he had killed Blodgett. At one point, police video shows him putting his head down onto a table during an interview and sobbing.
What did you use to kill him?
I don't remember.
Do you remember if it was some type of weapon or your hands?
I don't remember. All I know is that I buried him and I shouldn't have.
One of the officers told me that you had said it was some type of sharp object. Maybe like a knife or a screwdriver or something.
I don't remember.
Okay. And again, you don't have to talk to me, but please don't lie, because there's no reason to lie anymore. Right?
I killed him with a screwdriver.
Okay. And is that screwdriver around anywhere?
No.
Okay. Because it's been, I know it's been a long time.
Yeah.
You got family in town here?
Yeah. That's why I wanted to confess for they don't, nothing happens to them. It was my fault for my sin,
No long explanation, no dramatic story, just a bitter, unfinished sentence. A screwdriver, a simple tool, an ordinary object, turned into a murder weapon. But after 15 years, it was long gone. But to understand how this could stay hidden for so long, we have to go back.
So no reason. Alright. So I kind of went back there and looked at it. There's some cross members on the floor. Were those there when you put them in there?
No.
Okay, so it was just an open space at the time?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
It was in what?
Like cross members, like if you were to pull up the floor, there's like joists, like braces.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm talking about? Like that go diagonal that the floor sits on? Those weren't there?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did you have to dismember his body to get him in there, or did you just put him in there whole?
I don't remember. Anyways, I already confessed, man.
No, well, see, I need to know this information because I'm going to go and dig him up, right? And
I thought they already dug him up.
No. We went over there and looked at it. We haven't even got started yet.
Are they going to take me to jail?
It's a process. I don't know, man. I don't know. We have to talk to the district attorney's office.
So I'm going to be stuck here all night or what?
No, not all night. No, but we got to talk to the DAs. They're the ones that ultimately make the decision. But those cross members, there would be no way to put him in the ground without dismembering him. That's just my curiosity is what I'm facing. Okay. All right. Is there anything that you think I should know that you want to tell me before I take off?
Everybody knows everything already.
Okay. All right. I'll come back in a little bit, Tony, and let you know what's going to happen, okay?
To the winter of 2008, December 2008, Roswell, New Mexico, 69-year-old William C. Blodgett Jr. is last seen at his home, a quiet man, known to neighbors, known to his family, and within days, he simply vanishes. No goodbye, no packed bags, no sign of a trip, his wallet still inside, his car still parked, everything he needed, he left behind. January 3rd, 2009. After more than 10 days of silence, Blodgett's son, Greg, reports him missing. Officers search the property, they interview neighbors, they bring in cadaver dogs, but nothing, no trace, no struggle, nobody. At the time, William had a tenant living with him, a man in his early 20s, Tony Peralta. Police learned Blodgett reportedly had an issue with his tenant around that time. Blodgett had accused Peralta of stealing his wallet and tried to evict him. A detective interviewed Peralta, but no new leads came from the conversation. A cadaver dog was used on the property days after he had disappeared, but neither the police dog nor Peralta provided any leads. Police eventually said the case got cold and was closed. All leads in reference to this case have been exhausted. This case will be closed pending further leads or information, the police report stated. For 15 years, William Blodgett existed only in files, only in memories, only in unanswered questions, until one phone call changed everything. Peralta told authorities he decided to come forward because his heart hurts and that he thought about it every day. Drug addiction, long-term trauma, guilt that never faded. Tony didn't speak like someone trying to escape punishment. He spoke like someone trying to finally feel something else besides shame. Peralta said he wanted to confess because of his own family, and the detective told him he was helping Blodgett's family too. No legal strategy, no calculated answer, just a simple truth. For 15 years, William Blodgett's family lived with questions that had no answers, no funeral, no goodbye, no closure. Now, they at least had the truth. Tony's confession didn't come from evidence, it didn't come from pressure, it came from the slow destruction of carrying a murder without consequences. For some people, prison walls come from outside. For others, they live behind them long before law enforcement arrives. With the body confirmed and a weapon identified, Tony Ray Peralta was officially charged with first-degree murder. May 9, 2023, Tony appeared before a Roswell judge where he formally entered a plea of not guilty through his court-appointed public defender, Ray Conley. A judge set Peralta's trial for October 2023. His defense raised questions about his mental health, his drug history, his psychological state at the time of the crime. But the evidence didn't disappear with time. The remains, the confession, the location, the burial, all of it pointed to him. For William Blodgett, there was no early release, no parole, no second chance, just 15 years buried in silence. But sometimes the truth doesn't surface because it's found. Sometimes it surfaces because someone can't carry it anymore. And now, the man who disappeared has finally been heard. For 15 years, William Blodgett wasn't just missing. He was a question his family had no answer to, a question the town quietly forgot, a question buried so deep even the ground kept his secret. Tony Peralta lived his life like nothing happened, walked the same streets, breathed the same air, passed the same house, while the man he killed lay just a few feet beneath him. No justice, no peace, just silence. But silence doesn't last forever. It eats, it corrodes, it breaks people from the inside out. And one night, after 15 years, it finally broke him. William Blodgett didn't get to say goodbye. He didn't get justice when he deserved it, but he got the truth. And for the people who loved him, sometimes that truth is the only thing left standing between pain and healing. Some secrets stay buried, not because no one is looking, but because only one person knows where to dig. If this case stayed with you, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe guilt always wins in the end, or do you think some people live forever with what they've done? And if you want more real cases like this one, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next.
Oh my god.
Oh, is the knife blood over there?
Yeah, it's like stuck to the ground. You can see all the blood on it.
It's bad, bro.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. Dude, like 20 feet separation from head and body.
And then the body he dragged the body and probably through the head because where they cut the head off is like
about 50
here,
feet.
And then the body's over there and the head's a little farther.
Holy.
These officers just responded to what they thought was a routine welfare check at a children's park in Las Cruces, New Mexico. But what they discovered would haunt them forever. A headless body lying in the middle of the road, a severed head 20 feet away, and sitting calmly under a tree just feet from the carnage, the killer, covered in blood, waiting to be found. What happened next would reveal one of the most disturbing confessions in New Mexico history. It all started just before midnight on June 20th, 2021. A driver pulling into Apodaca Park had made a discovery that would shake this quiet New Mexico community to its core.
So I was just driving, right, and then I pulled in and I seen the body laying on the floor, and then I think his head was on the side of him.
Okay, so Apodaca Park?
Apodaca Park, going in on Waterbridge. I was pulling in because I was going to go in Waterbridge Park, and then I seen something on the floor, and I thought it was a traffic cone. And then once the light, the light touched like the body, I seen the body, to the left of it, I seen his face.
Could you tell if he was breathing?
And then I no, his head was completely off of his body.
What do you mean?
Like he was decapitated.
Okay. And what was he wearing?
And then, I don't know, I want to say a white shirt, and I believe it had blood on it. Maybe.
And how long ago was this?
I seen this like 5 minutes ago, 5-10 minutes ago.
Okay.
And then so then I seen it, and I got sweaty, so then I got sped off, and I was going forward, and then I seen a cop at the exit on the other side. There was a police officer sticking near his car.
Okay, and for a fact, so you said he circled back to double check and is completely off of his body?
No, I didn't circle back. I just tried getting out of the area, to be honest with you.
That's okay. Do you have it in this? Did you see anything else suspicious around the area?
No, I seen there was nobody at the park. I just pulled in, and then I just seen his head off of his body, like decapitated. He was to blame, and I got scared,
Multiple officers were immediately dispatched to the scene, but the 911 caller mentioned something else that would prove critical.
It's a fucking decapitated body. I was about to go get a Whataburger, bro. And it's a body laying on the ground, decapitated. Oh, is the knife and blood over there? Yeah, it's like stuck to the ground. You can see all the blood on it. So I figured this is like cartel related. I really want to walk up to the body and just check it out. Hey, Sarge, I gotta puke, and I don't want to puke in the crime scene.
As officers arrived at the park, they immediately secured the perimeter. What they found was beyond comprehension: a lifeless body in the middle of the road, completely decapitated. The victim's head was found nearly 20 feet away, but that wasn't all. As officers processed the horrific scene, one of them spotted something that made his blood run cold. Sitting beneath a tree, just feet away from the victim, was a man, and he was covered in blood.
911, make 25 with a pedestrian in the middle of the park. Sir, put your hands up. Stand up. 809. 87, 911, Central 10-3 for right now. Come over here. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Get on your knees. Put your hands where I can see them. Stay right there, okay? 809, 87, 893, 87. Stay where you are. Keep your hands up, okay? Keep your hands where I can see them. Don't move. Contact. I got cover. You got contact. Shift. Hands back. Stand up, bro.
I just lost my.
Just pat him down, bro.
Yeah.
Come on. Is it cool if I take everything out of your pocket?
Put gloves on, please. Put gloves on, please.
Yeah, I got gloves. Here you go.
Just get him out of here.
Hey.
Over here. You guys got him then?
We got him, Sarge.
We got a call that somebody saw a decapitated body here at the entrance off Solano. Ortiz showed up, confirmed there was a body. The guy's head is right there by his feet. We start canvassing the park. We find a guy kind of in the trees back here next to his bags and stuff. He's got bags that look like they're covered in blood. He had a knife stuck in the ground. We had him like this, hooked him up. He's right here in the unit. We canvassed the park. We didn't find anybody else. We don't know what else is in his bags, and we haven't talked to him. He hasn't said anything. I guess he's been laughing.
The man complied without resistance. His name was Joel Arciniega Sainz, a 28-year-old homeless man. Had what disturbed officers most wasn't just the blood covering his body, it was how calm he appeared.
All right, bro. Go and step out right here and just hang out right here on this side, okay? Yes, sir. So once we get in here, just go down. You're going to see a trash can. Just hang out by that trash can. Yes, sir. Just hang out right there. Bro, unfortunately, it's part of our policy. We have to cuff you to the bench, okay? Yes, sir. It's a little uncomfortable, but it's something we got to do, okay? What do you got?
You have a cigarette?
Cigarette, you can't smoke in here, bro. You're good at lunching, but you can't in here.
As they searched him, officers made another chilling discovery. A blood-stained switchblade was found stabbed into the ground next to where Joel had been sitting.
Straight up, dude, the knife was this big.
Wow.
Dude, he was hacking away. And how do we drive by here and nobody calls that shit out? Yeah. It took a while. You know how hard it is?
My thing is people calling code 24 this, code 24 that all the time. Yeah, this motherfucker gets his head hacked off with a penknife and nobody hears a goddamn thing.
Subject was found minus a head, and we detained a subject in the middle of the park who had a bloody bag. He had a knife stuck in the ground, laughing maniacally.
While two officers escorted Joel to a patrol car, the others began processing what would become one of the most brutal crime scenes in Las Cruces history.
Which one are you going to stay with the body?
Is there not someone with it?
Okay, one of you two were supposed to be there. Jesus, Smith, stay with the body.
Body.
It's bad, bro.
Yeah? Oh, yeah. Dude, like 20 feet separation from head and body.
And then the body he dragged the body and probably threw the head, because where they cut the head off is like
about 50
here,
feet.
And then the body's over there and the head's a little farther. I keep telling everyone, it's like, Apodaca Park's such a nice place. Why do you warn people about us going here? And now I got a new one to tell them. It's a terrible place to be headed.
One of my
Nobody gets it. Never mind.
There's a camp behind the patrol officers. You see it?
Oh, yeah. Right there.
Right there?
Yeah.
So that's where the suspect was at, or this guy was at.
Where that guy was at?
On this tree where all the stuff is, the tree behind this one right here, the one over there, there's a chunk of hair. Yeah, it's a good amount, but I don't know if it's from there. I mean, I think that guy has long hair, so it might.
So his fingers in the what we're believing is the crime scene, and then it looks like they were just camping out. There's 2 sets of footprints over there. There's a bunch of bloody items over the little camp. So
The brutality of the scene was overwhelming even for veteran officers. An autopsy would later confirm the victim had been stabbed 84 times. His middle finger had been severed, his head completely removed, with what appeared to be a small switchblade. The evidence painted a disturbing picture. The victim had been attacked, stabbed repeatedly, then decapitated. His body was then dragged into the middle of the road. Both investigators were about to learn something even more horrifying. As officers canvassed the park, they discovered camping gear and personal belongings scattered throughout the area. Both the victim and suspect appeared to be homeless. The victim was identified as 51-year-old James Garcia. As Joel was transported to the police station, officers ran his information through their system, and what they found was deeply troubling. Just 8 weeks before this murder, Joel had gone on a violent vandalism spree in downtown Las Cruces. He smashed the windows of 2 local coffee shops, causing thousands of dollars in damage. But what officers found inside one of those businesses was even more disturbing. Walls covered in homophobic slurs, hate-filled messages written in marker and smeared with blood, and a chilling phrase written in his own blood, death. Surveillance cameras had captured Joel disappearing into the night. He was arrested days later, but released pending trial. It was a clear warning sign that went unheeded, but that wasn't all. Years earlier, Joel had been arrested for another murder. In that case, a 21-year-old man named Benjamin Montoya was found shot to death in a motel room. Joel was charged with first-degree murder, but the weapon was never found, and without conclusive evidence, the charges were eventually dropped. Joel had walked free. Now, sitting in an interrogation room with blood still on his hands, detectives knew they were dealing with someone far more dangerous than they initially thought.
What happened? What did you get on your hands? What's that? You don't know what you got on your hands? And you don't know what you were doing in Apadoc Park tonight? So, obviously you know we're out here, we're investigating something, right? Sure. Okay. And this is your chance, this opportunity to give your side of the story, right? For what you were doing there. Yes. That's all we're here for. Try to get your side of the story, try to understand what happened.
So why do you think you're here, Joel?
You guys brought me here, you tell me.
I'm asking you why we brought you here.
Why did you?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
You answer me.
Huh?
I don't know. You asked me.
But you don't know why we brought you here. Did you even question why we brought you?
I don't know.
Alright, Joel, so you don't know who else was in the park?
I guess.
What about James?
What's James?
What's what?
Who's James?
The guy in the park with you.
Who is that?
Huh?
Who is that?
He was in the park with you.
Who's in the park?
James.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, well, you were with him.
Who James is?
Okay, so the guy that was in the park with you. You may not know his name, but he was there with you.
Is
He was.
For the next 30 minutes, Joel gave detectives nothing. He claimed he didn't know what happened, didn't know why he was there, didn't know whose blood was on his hands.
Is there anything that you can remember from last night?
No, sir.
Can you tell us what happened last night?
No, sir.
Well, here's the thing, man, is we picked you up at Apodaca Park, okay? You remember that? Alright. I remember you had blood on you. So now, you have blood on your hands, on your clothes. You can tell me about that? You know how the blood got there?
This is a serious situation that we got going on right now. Okay? We really need you to talk to us and tell us what happened. I know we tried before, and I know there were some issues with wanting to talk, not remembering. Right? Okay. That's why we're back at it again. Okay, we don't want to just leave it at that. We want to try to see what you know about what happened. Can't remember? This would be a good time for you to try to start remembering. Okay? Because I'm going to tell you right now, we have somebody that's dead out there. Do you understand that? There's a man out there that's dead. And you know that. Do you understand what's going down right now? No. We're investigating the death of that gentleman that's out there. That's what's going down right now. Okay? Obviously you know that when we show up and we find somebody that's dead, and we have somebody that has blood on their hands, you can see what we're coming at, right? This is your time to explain why you have blood on your hands. Because if we got it wrong, this is the time to tell us.
It was clear Joel had done this before. His deflection tactics were practiced, almost rehearsed, so detectives tried a different approach.
Joel. So, I'm just trying to find out more information about James. So, was he your boyfriend? Were you guys dating each other? Okay. Were you guys in some kind of lover's quarrel? Oh. Like, because he's your boyfriend, you guys got in an argument? That's just what I'm getting. You tell me, man. I'm not calling you gay. Yeah, I'm not judging you. You're married? Yeah. Who are you married to? You married to James? Are you married to James?
Are you trying to insult me?
Huh?
Are you insulting me?
No, I'm not insulting you. I'm not calling you gay.
Well, why are you calling me gay?
We're not calling you gay, we're just asking if that's what it is.
I didn't call you gay.
Just called me gay.
I said, are you married to James?
No, who told you I'm married to James? I don't know who he is.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to find out why James is dead in a park and you have his blood all over your hands.
I don't know. I'm not gay, and I bet you are.
Okay.
Be quiet, ain't you? I'm not gay.
So you didn't have any kind of lover's quarrel with James?
No, I do have a lover's quarrel with this cracker.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. It seems like you both do.
Okay.
All the pictures on the other.
So is that why you attacked James tonight? Because he called you gay?
That's not professional.
Is it because James is gay?
I don't know. Why are you calling me gay? I'm married.
I'm asking you.
Where are you getting this? You're lying.
I'm not lying about anything.
You're lying. You know what's okay.
You're telling me I don't know
You're a
everything.
detective. Yeah, you act like a child.
I'm not acting like a child.
Yes, you are.
Okay. So then tell me about James. Tell me about James.
Show us your cheeks, ass.
Is that why you're pissed off? Because James thought you were gay?
No.
Did James hit on you?
No.
Did he make some kind of advance towards you that you didn't like?
Who told you I was gay? Is that why they didn't keep me?
No.
Is that big that you could hear her telling you that?
Yeah.
Right. Don't call me gay, dude. I'll get over it. I'll knock you.
Okay. Well, I mean, if that's what you feel like you want to do.
That's what you can.
I'm not calling you gay. I'm asking you.
You literally just came and called me gay.
I did not.
Don't do that shit.
I asked if James was your husband.
I asked you if that was your husband.
And I told you that's not.
Yeah, I told you the same thing. Why do you keep asking?
Well, I'm trying to find out why your blood, or why James's blood is all over you. So, if it's because you guys had a lover's quarrel, or he made some kind of unwanted advance. You guess?
No.
So, he did.
You suck at your job.
Do I?
Yeah, you do.
Well, then help me out.
Want to fight me?
I don't want to fight you.
Well, let's do something. My coach.
I don't want to fight you.
Don't call me gay then.
I'm not calling you gay. Okay.
They decided to use Joel's history of writing homophobic slurs against him, suggesting the victim was his boyfriend, hoping to provoke a reaction. The strategy was working. Joel was becoming increasingly agitated, and detectives pressed harder, and just like that, the confession began.
What's
ask. I want to know what happened to James.
Who's James?
You know who James is. They happened to be covered in his blood. Do you remember when we did those swabs of your hands?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What was his last name?
Garcia.
James Garcia.
Yeah. Remember we did swabs of your hands a little while ago?
You ever played The Last of Us Part 2?
You remember when we took swabs of your hands? When we rubbed those Q-tips on your hands? Remember that? We're gonna send that out to the lab. It's gonna come back with James' blood. Right?
James Garcia.
Yeah. James Garcia's blood is gonna be on your hands. James Garcia's dead.
That is. Well, I've never seen that guy.
You never seen that guy?
No.
Then how is his blood on your hands?
I don't know.
You don't know? Like, that's all it said. Because you stabbed him, right? That's how it happened.
I stabbed him.
Yeah. Isn't that true?
I stabbed him.
Yeah.
Look, Joel, we know what you did. We just want to know why you did it.
So my name's not Joel.
It is Joel.
So my name.
What do you want to be called then?
Altair. It's part of
I'm sorry?
I gave it to the cop that writes it.
Altair?
Altair.
Altair.
That's my real name.
Okay, Altair.
I'm Virgin.
So then why did you kill that guy?
It's because he my wife.
Your wife. When did this happen?
4 years ago.
4 years ago?
Yeah.
And then Joel revealed the most disturbing detail of all.
Those are our bags that you had to go stealing from us.
Okay. Which bags were yours?
Those 3 backpacks belonged to my wife and her 2 friends.
Okay.
I wanted to get them back. I just tried to take them. He pulled the gun on me. You saw it. So yeah, I had a knife and I stabbed him.
And what else did you do?
I cut his head off.
Okay. Because you had your bags. What knife did you use?
I don't know. Some kind of knife he had in his pocket.
He had it?
Yeah, I pulled it off.
You pulled it off of him?
Yeah, because he tried to attack me. I just wanted my bags back.
Okay.
He had a gun. He had a knife. And he tried to pull it.
What kind of gun was it?
I got a little 22 pistol.
Did you see what color it was?
It's like black with a brown handle. He tried to take that from me. And he tried to pull it on me and I took it away and then he pulled out a knife and that's what I stabbed him. I don't like guns, like I don't carry guns. I can fight. I just wanted my wife's gun back.
Okay.
And he did, so yeah, I did mean when he pulled the knife away, I stabbed him, so I started stabbing him. I stabbed him to death and then I stabbed him and cut his head off. And I dragged his body down the street and then I played soccer with his head.
You played soccer with his head?
Yeah, I keep passing cars.
How many cars passed by you?
About 14 different cars passed by me, they were all looking at me.
Really?
Yeah, and I just didn't want to streets and I got some ran his head over to me.
What time did this all happen at?
4:59 in the morning.
Was it dark outside or was it light outside?
It was pitch black.
Pitch black.
Yes, sir.
Did you use the same knife that you stabbed him with to cut his head off?
What?
Did the knife that you stabbed him with, is that the same knife you used to cut his head off?
Yeah. He had like a switchblade or something.
And that's what you used?
Yeah.
Joel's story was chilling. He claimed James Garcia had sexually assaulted his wife years earlier, that James pulled a gun and a knife on him, forcing him to act in self-defense. But detectives immediately began poking holes in his story. When they searched the scene, they found no weapon, no gun, no evidence of a struggle beyond the one-sided attack on James Garcia. Investigators also confirmed there was no record of Joel being married, no victim matching his wife's description, and no police report of any sexual assault. The entire story was fabricated. Joel and James were both homeless men who frequented Apodaca Park. On the night of June 20th, 2021, something triggered Joel. Whether it was a dispute over belongings, a perceived slight, or simply his untreated mental illness, no one will ever truly know. What is known is that Joel brutally stabbed James Garcia 84 times, cut off his finger, decapitated him with a small switchblade, then dragged his body into the road and kicked his severed head around like a soccer ball while cars drove past, all while calmly sitting and waiting for police to arrive. Joel Arquiniega Saenz was formally charged with first-degree murder, but the case wouldn't go to trial immediately. Joel was declared mentally incompetent to stand trial and placed under psychiatric evaluation. During that time, investigators learned that Joel had suffered from schizophrenia since the age of 11. He had been off his medication for years. It wouldn't be until March of 2025, nearly 4 years after the killing, that he was finally ruled competent and brought before a jury. The trial was swift. After reviewing the overwhelming evidence, the body cam footage, the confession, the forensic analysis, the jury deliberated for less than 2 days. On March 5, 2025, Joel Arquiniega Saenz was found guilty of first-degree murder. He now faces a mandatory life sentence in the New Mexico Department of Corrections. His sentencing hearing is scheduled for April 10, 2025. The murder of James Garcia shocked the Las Cruces community, a brutal, senseless killing that left a man dead and a city searching for answers. For the officers who responded that night, the images of what they found in Apodaca Park will stay with them forever. Subscribe for more true crime investigations.
Man accused of killing Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. Body camera video played in court today shows the moment officers found the 22-year-old's body.
February 22nd, 2024, 8:45 a.m. A calm morning blanketed the University of Georgia campus. Students shuffled to class. Life moved as usual. No one could have predicted the darkness that was about to unfold. Laken Hope Riley, a 22-year-old nursing student, went out for her routine morning jog along the familiar wooded trails. But this morning, someone was waiting, watching, planning. By 9:28 a.m., her heart had stopped. Her smartwatch captured the exact moment, and a nightmare began. When Laken didn't return, panic set in. Calls went unanswered. Hours passed, and when police finally found her, what they uncovered was beyond anything they could have imagined. What started as a missing persons report would unravel a chilling secret, one so disturbing it would rattle the entire nation. A predator had slipped through the cracks, and his horrifying secret? It was now buried in blood and silence. But silence doesn't last forever, and secrets don't stay hidden. This is the story of a young woman stolen too soon, and the killer who realized too late that the police were closing in. Before her name became the center of a national conversation,
Laken Riley, she was murdered as she ran on UGA's campus last week.
Laken Hope Riley was simply a 22-year-old nursing student chasing her dreams with quiet determination. Raised in Woodstock, Georgia, she was the kind of person who showed up early, studied late, and checked in with her mom every morning, even if just for a 2-minute call before class. She wasn't loud or flashy. Her energy came from consistency. The color-coded planners, the early morning runs, the handwritten notes of encouragement she left for classmates before exams. She wanted to be a pediatric nurse, not for the prestige, but because she believed deeply in caring for people when they were at their most vulnerable. In early 2024, Laken moved to Athens for clinical rotations at the University of Georgia's Health Center. She settled into a new apartment, kept up her routines, and found comfort in the quiet, pine-lined trails near Lake Herrick, where she jogged nearly every morning before lab. Those trails were part of her daily rhythm, a peaceful place where she could clear her head and plan the day ahead. She was cautious. She ran in daylight, shared her location, kept her phone on her arm, and followed the same paths she'd jogged dozens of times. She wasn't reckless. She was responsible. She was careful. That's what makes what happened to her so haunting. Laken didn't put herself in danger. She did everything right, and it still wasn't enough. What was supposed to be another normal day, another run, another check mark in her planner, became her last. And with that loss, a trail that once symbolized peace would become the epicenter of grief, outrage, and questions that stretch far beyond a single campus. It was supposed to be just another part of Laken Riley's routine. Thursday, February 22nd, 2024, began like most mornings for the 22-year-old nursing student. She woke up early, sent a quick message to her roommate, heading out for a run back before lab, and spoke briefly with her mom at 9:03 a.m. during their regular check-in call. There was no sign of worry in her voice, no hesitation. She laced up her shoes, pulled on a sweatshirt, clipped her phone into her running armband, and stepped out into the fresh Athens air. The route she took that morning was one she knew well, the Lake Herrick Trail, nestled behind the University of Georgia campus. Tree-lined, quiet, and familiar, it was a favorite among runners and students looking for a break from the buzz of campus life. Laken had run it many times. She knew the turns, the elevation shifts, and the spots where the sunlight filtered just right through the trees. It felt safe, predictable, peaceful. But something happened at 9:11 a.m. That's when her Garmin smartwatch recorded a sudden spike in her heart rate, far beyond what would be expected for her normal jogging pace. GPS data, later retrieved by investigators, showed erratic movements. Her path veered off the trail sharply. Her pace became uneven. Then came another spike, not of speed, but of struggle. Analysts would later interpret the sensor data as movements consistent with fighting back, sharp, irregular accelerations from the wrist and body. She was trying to escape, trying to survive. At 9:25 a.m., her heart rate data became chaotic. Brief spikes, sudden drops, then flatlined completely. By 9:28 a.m., there was no more motion. Her Garmin watch had recorded her final moments with horrifying precision. The technology built to track her fitness had become an unwitting witness to her murder. When Laken failed to show up for her pharmacology lab just after noon, something she had never done, her roommate grew concerned. After several unanswered texts and calls, she notified campus police around 12:07 p.m. Officers launched a search immediately, using her last known phone location and fitness tracker data to narrow their focus. It didn't take long. At 12:38 p.m., Laken's body was found in a wooded area just off the trail near Lake Herrick. She had been beaten and strangled. Her face showed signs of blunt force trauma. Her clothing was torn. Her phone, damaged and partially buried in pine needles, was found a short distance away. The strap on her smartwatch had snapped. There were signs of a violent struggle. Broken branches, disturbed leaves, drag marks in the dirt. She had fought back, hard. The horror of the scene sent shockwaves through the responding officers. For many, it was the most brutal crime they had witnessed in years. What was more shocking was the location, not some isolated alley or remote field, but a well-used university trail in broad daylight on a weekday morning. As word spread, the University of Georgia's campus was thrown into fear and mourning. Students canceled plans, group chats filled with panic and speculation. For the first time since 1983, the university was dealing with a murder on its own grounds. And not just any murder, but a brutal, targeted killing of a young woman who had done everything right. Behind the scenes, the investigation was already moving quickly. Police collected evidence from the scene, secured surveillance footage from cameras around the campus, and began reviewing phone and GPS data from Laken's devices. What they found would become critical. Her phone had triggered an emergency alert just after 9:11 a.m., possibly from a sudden jolt or fall. Although the call never connected fully, the timing aligned exactly with the moment her smartwatch data began spiking. A digital trail from her watch, her phone, and the nearby cell towers was beginning to paint a timeline of the crime, accurate down to the second. She had been attacked just minutes after entering the trail. It was a crime of opportunity, investigators believed. Someone lying in wait, watching, and then striking when the path was clear. Someone who saw a young woman running alone and decided to take advantage of that isolation. Someone who didn't expect that her technology would capture every step of the attack and eventually lead straight to his door. But that part of the story, the arrest, was still to come. For now, the campus stood still, grieving, confused, terrified. A young woman full of promise had been taken in the span of 15 minutes. A place that once symbolized peace had become a crime scene. And for the people who loved her, nothing would ever feel safe again. The scene at Lake Herrick had already delivered the first blows. A bruised body, broken branches, and silence heavy enough to suffocate. But it wasn't long before investigators realized they weren't working with a cold trail. Far from it. Laken Riley hadn't just fought her attacker physically. She'd unknowingly left behind a trail of data, etched second by second in the digital breadcrumbs of modern life. And it was this trail that would bring the truth to light with stunning speed. The investigation began with her devices.
Does this jacket have a zipper on it? Yes, it does. Item number 3, inside of states 90. What is this? A section of the sports bra. So the other section of the sports bra. Correct. So this is a photograph of evidence marker 8, and then in the background, what does that depict? The cell phone. Can you please point to the cell phone in states 81? Did you collect the cell phone? Yes, we did. Did you look at the cell phone? Yes. What, if anything, did you observe about the cell phone? We noticed that there was an area of ridge detail on the phone. When you say ridge detail, what do you mean by that? Fingerprint ridge detail. What does that depict? That's a photograph of the phone and me using the flashlight to try to highlight it. I'm gonna wait for this thing to stop moving. Okay, hold on a second. Were you able to determine, was there any reddish brown stains on the phone? Yes. Okay, what did you see? It looked like there were reddish stains suspected to be blood. Where on the phone? Specifically the print. States Exhibit 83, this may be really tough. I think I'm gonna have to come to you closer for it, so before I do that, did you end up taking a better photograph or more photographs of the latent print that you saw on the phone? Yes. States Exhibit 84, what is that? That is a macro photo of the latent print, or in this case it would be a patent print because we could kind of see it, so, of the ridge detail. Of the ridge detail. Correct. When did you take this photo? On the scene, after we collected the phone, immediately. Was it before or after the phone was processed for prints? This photograph, I believe this one is before. Yes, this one is before Detective Saunders used powder. Okay, and did you see Detective Saunders process the phone? I did. And was that done in your presence? Yes. And then did he lift a latent lift card from that phone? He did.
Laken's Garmin smartwatch, though scratched and partially detached from her wrist, was still operational. Investigators recovered it alongside her shattered iPhone, which had been thrown, or perhaps stomped on, during the attack. Both were sent to digital forensics within hours of being logged into evidence. The smartwatch's data was revealing. It provided a minute-by-minute account of her jog, including real-time heart rate, movement intensity, and GPS coordinates. At 9:11 a.m., the readings changed dramatically. Her pace shifted, her heartbeat surged from a stable aerobic rate to panic-level spikes, and her position veered sharply off the main trail. Analysts later described it as a signature of distress. It was followed by erratic stops and sudden deceleration, likely a struggle. At 9:28, the data stopped. Her heart had ceased beating. Her iPhone proved just as crucial. Investigators retrieved fragments of location history from her health app in emergency alert settings. At the exact moment of the attack, the phone attempted to auto-dial emergency services, triggered by sudden motion or a hard impact. The call never connected fully, but the attempt was logged. Laken, even as she fought for her life, had triggered a silent alarm. Police moved quickly to canvass the area. Trail surveillance footage from nearby parking lots and entry points showed Laken entering the trailhead just after 9:05 a.m., alone. No one suspicious was visible near her, but other cameras, just outside student housing, revealed a man seen loitering around female dorms earlier that same morning. Dressed in dark joggers and a hoodie, he appeared again around 9:35 a.m., power walking away from the Lake Herrick area. His gait was rushed, his head low, and he took a back entrance into a neighborhood just south of campus. That man would soon have a name, Jose Antonio Ibarra. Through geofencing warrants and cell tower pings, authorities identified an unregistered Android device that had pinged in exact proximity to Laken's iPhone during the attack window. It wasn't just close, it was moving with her, from the trailhead to the wooded area where her body was later found. Investigators obtained subscriber data and located the phone's most frequent address. It was registered under Ibarra's brother's name, who lived in a duplex less than a mile away. Ibarra had a history, and not a clean one. He was a 26-year-old migrant from Venezuela who had entered the U.S. illegally in 2022. Initially detained at the southern border, he had been released into the country pending immigration proceedings. In 2023, he was arrested in New York on misdemeanor theft charges, but was again released. By early 2024, he had drifted to Athens, Georgia, staying with his brother and working sporadic construction gigs. There had been informal complaints about his behavior, particularly around women's dorms, but no official charges. On February 23rd, just one day after Lakin's body was found, officers paid Ibarra a visit. He didn't run.
The judge who will decide his fate watched this newly released body camera video in court, where police are seen waking up 26-year-old Jose Ibarra and questioning him about the murder in the jogging trails near his apartment. The officers are seen asking him about scratches and bruises on his arms and face.
What injuries did you observe?
I noticed on his right arm, his bicep, there was a scratch, which I identified as a potential defensive wound. On his left arm, he had a forearm scratch that was very similar, which in my mind, looked like fingernail scratches to me.
But police noticed several things right away. Fresh scratches on his face and neck, mud-caked shoes, and a torn hoodie sleeve. He claimed he had been out walking around the morning before, but couldn't remember details. His phone, the one that pinged near Lakin's, was in his pocket. Police obtained a search warrant and collected his clothing, phone, and DNA samples. Forensics began immediately. The results came back within hours. Lakin's DNA was found beneath Ibarra's fingernails. His fingerprint was lifted from her shattered phone screen. His GPS data matched hers within a margin of seconds during the time of the attack. Every piece of digital evidence, her watch, her phone, his phone, overlapped perfectly. But it didn't stop there. A search of the trash outside the duplex uncovered the torn hoodie seen on surveillance footage. On it were traces of fabric that matched Lakin's clothing, as well as blood spatter consistent with the blunt trauma injuries she sustained. In less than 36 hours, detectives had gone from a crime scene to a suspect, from a lifeless trail to a digital map leading directly to an arrest. Ibarra was taken into custody without incident. He was charged with malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault with intent to rape, kidnapping, and several other counts. He said little during his interrogation. He didn't confess, but he didn't deny it either. The case was moving faster than anyone expected. What might have taken weeks in another time was now advancing hour by hour, fueled by a chilling truth. In a world wired to track everything, even death leaves a digital signature. Lakin had fought back, and in doing so, she left behind the clues that would ensure her killer couldn't hide. The trial of Jose Antonio Ibarra began in the fall of 2024, but even before the courtroom doors opened, the atmosphere around the case had turned electric. Unlike high-profile jury trials, this one would be decided by a judge alone, Judge H. Patrick Haggard. The prosecution entered the bench trial with a mountain of forensic evidence, digital data, and eyewitness accounts, all painting a chilling picture of a young woman's final moments and a man's predatory instincts turned fatal. The courtroom itself was divided, not just physically, but politically and emotionally. On one side, the Riley family sat in somber silence, bearing the weight of a loss that had shaken their entire world. On the other, the defense attempted to paint Ibarra as a man who had fallen through the cracks of a broken immigration and social system, but their efforts did little to deflect the gravity of the charges: malice murder, felony murder, aggravated battery, aggravated assault with intent to rape, kidnapping, and tampering with evidence. Prosecutors meticulously walked the court through the timeline. They presented data from Lakin's Garmin smartwatch that recorded her heart stopping precisely at 9:28 a.m., corroborating the exact moment her attacker inflicted the fatal blow. They demonstrated that Ibarra's location, tracked through surveillance footage and geolocation data, matched the scene of the crime. But perhaps most disturbing were the injuries, signs of a vicious struggle indicating that Lakin didn't die easily. She fought hard.
Is he hurt? I found it. Ma'am,
Ma'am. Oh. I need EMS immediately. It's in the location where the phone pings. Ma'am. She's down, she's not breathing. Potentially been attacked. Starting CPR now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I'm not getting any pulse. She's stiff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. That's why she was Zach. 1, 2, go back through, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Take over. Looked like blunt force trauma to the head. Her shirt has been removed above her breast.
Defense wounds on her hands and arms told the story of a woman desperately trying to escape her fate. The defense team tried to question the timeline and chain of custody for some pieces of evidence, but the facts were overwhelmingly against them. There were traces of Ibarra's DNA found at the crime scene and on Lakin's body. Clothing fibers matched. Even the blood spatter patterns told a consistent story, a brutal, one-sided attack in a secluded part of campus. Ibarra chose not to testify. Throughout the trial, he showed little emotion, staring blankly ahead as the prosecutor described the horrific nature of Lakin's injuries. The prosecution emphasized that the attack was premeditated, not in a traditional sense, but as a calculated decision when Ibarra saw an opportunity to overpower a lone jogger. After just 4 days of trial, Judge Haggard delivered a unanimous verdict, guilty on all counts. The courtroom fell silent for a beat, then broke into quiet sobs. On November 20th, 2024, Ibarra was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. There would be no appeal, no leniency, no redemption, just the cold weight of justice served in full. The trial may have ended, but for many, the shockwaves of Lakin Riley's murder had only begun. The University of Georgia community was forced to confront a new reality, one where safety on campus was no longer a given. The fact that this was the first murder on UGA's campus since 1983 made the crime all the more jarring. Students organized vigils and demanded reforms.
This campus and our sisterhood will never be the same without Lakin Riley. Although the flowers in our house will fade, the visitors will slow, and we will begin classes again, our hearts will always ache without Lakin. She exuded devotion with each and everything that she did. A devoted Christian, sister, student, daughter, and friend. Whether it was nursing school, being the Alpha Chi banner chair, or the incredible runner that she was, Lakin showed devotion throughout every avenue of her life. Doing something halfway was just never an option. Tell your friends that you love them, and never miss an opportunity for a sweet treat, one of Lakin's favorite pastimes, and scream the lyrics to your favorite song as loud as you can. Be kind. Catch up with your friends, and strive to be the type of person that Lakin was. Our sisterhood is shared from far and wide, heaven and earth side. And Lakin, we will love and remember you forever.
Including increased campus patrols, more lighting on trails, and enhanced emergency alert systems. But beyond Athens, the murder stirred a national firestorm. The suspect's immigration status, an undocumented Venezuelan migrant who had been arrested multiple times but never detained by ICE, lit a match in an already explosive political climate. News outlets across the spectrum seized the case. Conservative pundits used Lakin's death to underscore what they viewed as failed immigration enforcement. Progressive voices countered with concerns about racial scapegoating and politicizing tragedy. But regardless of party lines, one thing became clear. This wasn't just about a murder. It was about systemic oversight. Amid the uproar, the Laken-Riley Act was introduced in Congress and swiftly passed by the U.S. House of Representatives. The act proposed mandatory federal detention of undocumented immigrants who had been arrested for certain crimes even before trial. Supporters of the bill hailed it as a necessary safeguard. Critics warned it could lead to constitutional overreach and mass incarceration. Still, Laken's name became a rallying cry, not just for justice, but for legislative change. The Riley family, though heartbroken, channeled their grief into advocacy. They spoke publicly about the importance of victim protection and systemic accountability, attending Senate hearings and urging policymakers to do better.
Thank you, President Trump. We would like to thank Senator Katie Britt for her diligent bipartisan work to get this bill through the Senate. We'd also like to thank Congressman Mike Collins for his unwavering passion and for leading on the Laken-Riley Act from the start. Our family will forever be grateful for the prayers of the people across our nation and for helping to get this legislation into law. We also want to thank President Trump for the promises he made to us. He said he would secure our borders and that he would never forget about Laken. And he hasn't. He's a man of his word. We trust that he will fight for the American people. Most importantly, I want to thank our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because without his sacrifices, Laken's story would have ended on that horrific day that she was taken from us. But because of him, we can continue living knowing that we will see Laken again. There's no amount of change that will ever bring back our precious Laken. Our hope moving forward is that her life saves lives. We're so thankful that her passion for helping others and her legacy for doing good in the name of Jesus Christ will carry on. Thank you.
Their strength became a symbol of resilience in the face of unimaginable loss. Meanwhile, at UGA, a scholarship fund was established in Laken's memory. Her classmates remembered her as driven, compassionate, and always the first to help others. Professors described her as someone who was destined to make a difference in the medical field. The tragic irony that a woman who was training to save lives had hers stolen in such a brutal manner wasn't lost on anyone. In online spaces, the discourse raged on. Some blamed immigration loopholes. Others blamed campus security. Still others pointed out that focusing only on immigration distracted from the deeper issue, violence against women. But regardless of where the conversation landed, Laken's story had already become part of something larger. It wasn't just a campus tragedy anymore. It was a symbol, a headline, a battle cry. In the end, the murder of Laken Hope Riley wasn't just about the crime, it was about everything it revealed. A young woman went out for a run and never came home. Her life, full of promise, was reduced to autopsy reports and legal arguments. And while the justice system may have succeeded in convicting her killer, the broader systems surrounding her death were exposed as deeply flawed. Laken's case is a haunting reminder of how quickly routine can turn into catastrophe. She wasn't doing anything reckless or dangerous, just jogging on a trail she had likely used many times before. That ordinary decision became the opening for a predator, and in that moment, we're reminded of a terrifying truth. Sometimes the most horrific crimes are those that happen in places we think are safe. What followed, the political firestorm, the new laws, the media frenzy, raised a troubling question. Are we reacting to the crime or using it? The public discourse, while vital, often felt like it drowned out the human aspect. Laken was not a policy point. She was someone's daughter, friend, and classmate. She was days away from changing lives as a nurse. That personal narrative often got lost amid headlines about immigration and national security. Yet there's no denying that her death led to tangible change. Whether one agrees with the politics or not, her name now exists in legislation. The Laken-Riley Act may still face legal challenges, but it marks a moment when public tragedy became public policy. In that sense, Laken's life, though stolen, continues to make an impact. For the Riley family, justice may have brought closure, But it didn't bring peace. No sentence, no law, no media coverage can ever fill the void left behind. But perhaps what they've built in Lakin's memory, the advocacy, the scholarship, the voices they've inspired, will carry forward the kind of legacy she deserved. And for the rest of us, this case is a wake-up call about safety, about how we handle immigration, about how quickly the lives of the innocent can be taken by those who fall through the cracks, about how we mourn and how we move forward. In memory of Laken Hope Riley, let us not only remember how she died, but strive to protect the countless others who still run those trails, walk those campuses, and live in that fragile space between security and vulnerability. If you found this story impactful, please like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth true crime documentaries. Your support helps us continue telling stories that matter.
The Seth Teckle murder trial.
He's accused of killing his pregnant wife in their Wapello County home last May. KCCI's Laura Nichols explains why state prosecutors say lust was his motive, but the defense says they have the wrong man.
Autopsy photos Gooden told the jury that Lisa Teckle died from a single shotgun wound to the left side of her body.
Okay, 911, what's missing? She's not breathing. Does she have any medical problems? She's been shot.
Seth Teckle is the one who was behind the 12-gauge shotgun.
After nearly 2 weeks of hearing all the reasons why Seth Teckle is guilty of killing his wife, the jurors will now hear the defense's theory that it was the Teckle's neighbor, Brian Tate, who most likely committed the crime.
I can't control what other people see or think they see. I'm telling you that right now, I have to bury my wife and kid, my unborn kid, okay? Whoever did this is going to pay.
In the quiet rural town of Agency, Iowa, nestled among open fields and silos, tragedy struck a young couple that appeared to have everything going for them. Lisa Teckle was just 23, newly married, pregnant with her first child, and dreaming of a future filled with promise. Her husband Seth was a firefighter and aspiring law enforcement officer. They seemed like the all-American couple, devoted, full of ambition, and ready to start a family. But behind their white picket fence lay secrets, deception, and a motive deadly enough to shatter 2 lives and silence an unborn one. On May 26, 2012, Lisa was shot to death in her own bed. Seth claimed he heard the blast while in the shower and ran to find his pregnant wife bleeding from a shotgun wound.
Okay, 911, what's missing? She's not breathing. Does she have any medical problems? She's been shot. I was in the shot to get ready for work and I heard a gunshot. And I came running out and she was shot in the side and
It seemed random. Could it be a home invasion? But as investigators dug deeper, the truth began to unravel. And with it came a disturbing narrative of betrayal, infidelity, and manipulation. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. This was something darker. Lisa had no idea the man sleeping next to her held a secret that would cost her everything. This is the story of Lisa Teckle's murder, a case that went through 3 trials, a community torn by disbelief, and a husband who was willing to kill the woman carrying his child, all for another woman. Lisa Teckle grew up in southeast Iowa, where she was known for her warm personality, bright smile, and strong moral compass. She dreamed of following in her father's footsteps in law enforcement and worked as a reserve deputy and corrections officer. Friends described her as bubbly and strong, and family said she lit up every room she walked into. In October 2011, she married Seth Teckle, a volunteer firefighter with aspirations of becoming a sheriff's deputy. The couple lived in a modest mobile home on her family's rural property. To outsiders, their life seemed idyllic. Lisa was 17 weeks pregnant with a baby girl they planned to name Zoe Maria. She often posted about her pregnancy milestones and how excited she was to become a mother. But behind the cheerful posts and social appearances, Seth was growing distant. Unbeknownst to Lisa, he had rekindled a relationship with a former co-worker named Rachel McFarland. He texted Rachel daily, even while lying next to Lisa at night.
Talk about people that are in your lives and lives. Was there any extramarital there, work that I was texting, but I wasn't seeing her, it wasn't anything. It was just, hey, how was your day type of thing. Would it be considered sexting?
No, none of that.
What are you wearing?
No, there wasn't any of that.
We have to be honest about her, okay? Because is there anything that you haven't told us yet?
No. And he's gonna add up the way I just told you.
Rachel's DNA won't be on your clothes or...
I never had sex with her. No, nothing oral, nothing like that. I gave her hugs and I kissed her.
Lisa, trusting and in love, had no idea her husband was living a double life. She made nursery plans while he schemed how to end their marriage, not with divorce, but with a shotgun. It was around 5 a.m. on May 26, 2012, when a single blast from a 12-gauge shotgun echoed through the Teschel home. Seth claimed he had been in the shower and rushed out when he heard the shot. He said he found Lisa in bed, blood pooling beneath her, barely breathing.
Protected us 10 feet away from her. And why can't they still be alive? Why? Why couldn't I have done something to protect the woman that I love?
I turned the shower on. I wasn't in there for more than 5 minutes. And I heard this loud noise. And I will be honest, I had every intention on shooting whoever it was. I don't see anybody. I don't hear nothing. I run back inside. I run into the bedroom. And I said, Lisa, are you okay? And she's not breathing.
She was pronounced dead at the hospital. The child she carried, Zoe Maria, died with her. At first glance, the scene raised more questions than answers. The window screen was cut, suggesting a possible intruder, but nothing was stolen. Lisa had not fought back. There were no signs of forced entry. Her phone and wallet were untouched. Seth told authorities that someone must have broken in, perhaps a mentally ill neighbor he had issues with. He offered the name of a man who had allegedly made threats in the past. The story seemed plausible to some.
Who was the first person who came to your mind?
Tate, my crazy-ass neighbor who thinks that we're terrorists. Todd said that Tate the whole time was sitting on his front porch and he was rubbing a loaded shotgun.
But detectives noticed something strange. Seth showed little emotion. His answers were mechanical, and when they asked about his marriage, he glossed over any problems. A break came quickly. Investigators searched Seth's phone and found a trove of messages to Rachel McFarland. The texts weren't just friendly, they were intimate, romantic, and laced with urgency. Just 2 days before Lisa was murdered, Seth had written, "Just give me 2 more weeks." In another message, he said, "I want to be with you more than anything." The timeline unraveled quickly. It turned out Seth had access to a Mossberg 500 shotgun, a weapon consistent with the one that killed Lisa. It had been reported missing until it was discovered hidden in the weeds behind the trailer. This wasn't a random break-in. This was an execution, carried out while Lisa slept. Seth had plotted it meticulously, staging the scene and even selecting a scapegoat, but his digital footprint gave him away. He had used Lisa's death as a means to clear the path to a new life, one that didn't include his wife or unborn child.
Here's the deal, okay? Facts, right now, these case facts. Show us. You're responsible for killing your wife.
No. No. I can't kill my wife. I can't do it. What facts do you have that I killed her?
Listen, I've seen Rachel. Okay? I know what guys see when they see her. Guys do the same thing, okay?
I'm telling you, if I wanted to be with Rachel, I would get a divorce. I would not kill my wife over something that small. You know what? Right now, I guess I don't give a what happens to me, okay? I know what happened. I know what you're trying to do.
What am I?
You're trying to get me upset, and it's working. Congratulations. I can't control what other people see or think they see.
Right.
I'm telling you that right now, I have to bury my wife and kid, my unborn kid, okay? Whoever did this is going to pay.
From the moment law enforcement arrived on the scene, something about Seth Teschel's story didn't sit right. He claimed he was in the shower when the fatal shot rang out, but the timeline didn't line up. The window screen appeared to have been slashed from the inside, not the outside. There was no trace of forced entry, no muddy footprints, no signs of a struggle, no stolen items. And the shotgun shell left behind? It matched ammunition that could be traced back to the same type of firearm Seth had easy access to. Detectives initially followed up on Seth's claims about a local neighbor, a mentally ill man with whom the couple had allegedly had disagreements. But that lead fell apart quickly.
I went to bed about 8:30.
Right after I did.
After Mom did.
Did you hear anything in the middle of the night last night?
I was in bed, and normally I would have been up doing guard duty with all this that happened, but I'm schizophrenic paranoid.
You said earlier, Brian, that you'd sit outside here
at night.
At night, yeah. When's the last time you did that?
Oh, it's been a good week or so. They don't want me to do guard duty anymore. They want me to get sleep, take more medications.
You were such a calm, quiet guy until this vandalism started, and then you're just like a different person.
I was Mr. Nice Guy for a long time. It done me no good. People took advantage of me, so I'm kind of taking a different approach to life right now, being more serious and more not such a nice guy.
Then came the biggest red flag, Seth's phone. A forensic examination uncovered hundreds of messages between him and Rachel McFarland, the co-worker he had been secretly seeing. The tone of those texts turned the investigation on its head.
Teckle says his wife Lisa, a Wapello County Sheriff's deputy, was murdered while he was in the shower that morning. Well, today prosecutors used cell phone records and testimony from Teckle's alleged mistress to try and prove their case.
He added me on Facebook and asked for my telephone number, and just text messages from there started becoming more than just co-workers. It went from just normal conversations to flirtatious text messages. It became more asking me to send pictures, or I don't know, just showing off my body.
They weren't casual chats. They were emotional, intimate exchanges. One text, sent just days before Lisa's murder, read, "Can't wait to start our life." Another, "I hate living this lie." Investigators learned that Seth had promised Rachel he'd fix things and would be with her soon. Meanwhile, Lisa, unaware of her husband's double life, had been planning baby showers and browsing baby names. The most damning piece of digital evidence? A message where Seth told Rachel everything will be different after this weekend. The shotgun believed to have killed Lisa, a 12-gauge Mossberg, was eventually found discarded near the Teschel trailer. It hadn't been reported as missing, and it wasn't mentioned by Seth when he listed household weapons. Ballistics confirmed it was the murder weapon. That discovery shifted the case from suspicion to certainty.
John, the day's testimony got off to a disturbing start this morning when the state called Iowa Chief Medical Examiner Julia Goodvin to the stand. With the aid of autopsy photos, Goodvin told the jury that Lisa Teckle died from a single shotgun wound to the left side of her body. Goodvin also told jurors that at the time of her death, Teckle was pregnant with a perfectly healthy female child about 20 weeks old. Wapello County Reserve Deputy Brian Baum then took the stand. On the evening of May 27th, Baum was staking out the area where the murder weapon had been found. Police were hoping that the suspect might return for the weapon. While camouflaged and hidden in a nearby wooded area, Baum saw Seth Teckle and his father Doug approach the area. Baum testified that he heard the elder Teckle admonish his son.
What did you hear Seth Teckle say whenever he got near the tree?
When he was near the tree, he stated that they sure seemed to walk around a lot.
Did Doug Teckle respond to that?
Yes, he responded. That's their job, buddy. Come on now, you know that. If you were on the other side of it, what would you do? If you were wearing the badge, what would you do? You would do your job.
The court also heard from Teckle's former roommate, Lucas Howell. Howell told the court that the gun prosecutors believe was the murder weapon was a 12-gauge shotgun he left at the Teckle house roughly a week before the death of Lisa Teckle.
Seth's demeanor during questioning remained unnervingly calm, but friends and family began to turn. Even those who once vouched for his character started to doubt him. Lisa's father, who had once trusted Seth like a son, grew cold. Lisa's mother described her heartbreak. He sat at our dinner table, and all the while, he was planning to kill her.
You know, for us, this is horrible, but I think for us, too, is watching our other children go through this, too, you know, and feeling that sense of, you can't fix it. As a parent, you want to fix their pain and stuff like that. So I think for our other kids, it's hard, too, you know, for us to sit there and watch them. And, you know, we deal with our pain, you know, because we're the parent, but, you know, we're supposed to fix the boo-boos, and you know, so I think that's hard for us.
When police confronted Seth with the evidence, phone records, shotgun ballistics, timelines, he denied everything. He insisted he loved Lisa. He insisted the neighbor was responsible, but the more he spoke, the more holes appeared in his story.
Seth Andrew Teckel, 21 years old, of 8723 Fox Hills Road, Agency, Iowa, was arrested and charged in connection with the murder of Lisa Marie Teckel and her unborn child in the early morning hours of May 26, 2012. Criminal investigation was a cooperative effort between the Wapello County Sheriff's Office, the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation, and the State Medical Examiner's Office. And right now I would really like to thank the agents from the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation for all the hard work they put in on this case. Also, my officers who were assigned to the investigation of this case, and to all of the first responders and that responded initially on the call when it came in.
A grand jury indicted Seth Teschel on charges of first-degree murder and non-consensual termination of a human pregnancy. The prosecution's theory was clear. Seth wanted out of the marriage, but he didn't want the responsibility, shame, or financial strain of divorce and fatherhood. His solution? Kill his pregnant wife in her sleep and start fresh with another woman.
The district courtroom at the Wapello County Courthouse was packed Thursday morning as family members, friends, and members of the media came to hear opening arguments in the trial of Seth Teckel. The state presented their arguments to the jury in under an hour, focusing more on Seth's relationships with his co-worker at Job Corps and how events in that relationship led up to the death of Lisa Teckel and her unborn child. On the other side, the defense took most of the morning not to talk about Seth's relationships, but rather talk more about the scene of the crime and how the crime was investigated by the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation and also the Wapello County Sheriff's Office.
Seth Teschel's trial would turn into one of Iowa's most watched murder cases, not only because of the shocking nature of the crime, but because it took 3 separate trials to reach a verdict. The first trial, held in Wapello County in early 2013, ended in a hung jury. The defense argued there was still reasonable doubt. They claimed the neighbor Seth had originally named could still be responsible. Jurors couldn't agree.
Of course, we're disappointed in what happened, but I think the whole family's confident moving forward that justice will be served.
Seth Teckel is the one who shot and killed his wife and terminated her pregnancy. Seth Teckel is the one who was behind the 12-gauge shotgun. Seth Teckel is the one who was behind the shotgun, who pulled the trigger, who caused the deer slug to slam into his wife and kill her.
After nearly 2 weeks of hearing all the reasons why Seth Teckel is guilty of killing his wife, the jurors will now hear the defense's theory that it was the Teckel's neighbor, Brian Tate, who most likely committed the crime. The defense doesn't need to prove that Tate is guilty, they just need to make it plausible enough to create enough doubt in jurors' minds.
The second trial, moved to Henry County on October 2013, also resulted in a mistrial due to a deadlocked jury. Despite strong circumstantial evidence, like the texts and the hidden shotgun, the defense painted Seth as a grieving husband being railroaded.
We know the end result, 2 trials, 2 mistrials. But what happened between the men and women who deliberated in this courthouse? One juror says they were split from the start and they were never going to get a verdict.
I just kind of look around, kind of look at people's expressions and emotions and stuff. You know, I deal a lot. I base a lot of my decisions on the way people act and what, you know, how they present themselves.
Coleman describes the deliberation process as frustrating, but in the end, there was nothing he as a juror could do to bring closure to 2 families who desperately want it.
I feel sorry for his families, both sides, because neither one of them's got a closure. You know, they can't really go on with their lives, and it's, you know, it's just got to be total chaos for them, especially for it to last this long.
But during the third trial, held in Scott County in July 2014, prosecutors sharpened their case. They brought Rachel McFarland to the stand, where she testified about the affair, Seth's promises, and his increasingly desperate desire to be with her.
He started asking if, when he got a divorce to his wife, I'd move in with him. And I said no.
They also walked jurors through the chilling timeline of texts and showed how Seth had slowly orchestrated the murder. Ballistics, digital forensics, and behavioral evidence overwhelmed the defense's theory. Jurors learned that Lisa had been shot at close range while she slept, a deliberate, precise act. Experts testified that there was no way Seth wouldn't have heard an intruder entering or exiting such a small trailer. His timeline was impossible. The jury deliberated just a few hours before finding Seth Teschel guilty of first-degree murder and non-consensual termination of a pregnancy. On September 12, 2014, inside the Scott County Courthouse, Seth Teschel stood before a judge to receive his sentence, life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus 25 years for the death of his unborn daughter, Zoe Maria. He showed little reaction, no visible emotion, no apology, no acknowledgement of the destruction he had caused. It was as if the verdict had no real weight.
With this verdict, Mr. Teschel, I required under Chapter 8 several items. We'll need to set a date for sentencing. September 15.
A murder in the first degree, and it's signed by the head juror. Count 2, non-consensual termination.
A Davenport jury finds Seth Teschel guilty on all counts in the murder of his pregnant wife. Jurors agreed 23-year-old Teschel was guilty of first-degree murder and non-consensual termination of a human pregnancy. He faces a mandatory sentence of life in prison without parole.
But for Lisa's family, the courtroom was a mix of sorrow, rage, and bittersweet relief. Lisa's father, Todd Caldwell, took the stand during the victim impact statements. His voice trembled as he looked directly at the man he once considered a son. "You murdered our daughter. You stole her dreams. You murdered your own child. You lied to our faces. You sat with us in grief and cried crocodile tears while hiding the truth." His words echoed in the courtroom, drawing tears from jurors, attorneys, and even seasoned journalists covering the trial. Lisa's mother, Tracy, recounted the moment she found out her daughter had been shot. "It felt like the world stopped. One minute I was planning her baby shower, the next I was planning her funeral." She described Lisa as someone who always put others first, someone who dreamed of being a mother since childhood. And she would have been a great one, she said, her voice breaking. But Seth robbed us of that, robbed the world of that. After the trial, Rachel McFarland, Seth's former lover and a key figure in the case, went into seclusion. She had testified truthfully, providing the prosecution with critical insight into Seth's mindset before the murder. She told the jury she never knew he was planning something so horrific. "I thought he was just trying to leave her," she told investigators in a statement. "I didn't think he'd kill her. I never would have been involved if I'd known." Although Rachel was not charged with any crime, public backlash followed her for months. The community of Agency, Iowa was shaken to its core. Small towns like this are built on trust, familiarity, and long-standing relationships. The idea that a local firefighter, someone many people respected, could commit such a brutal, calculated murder sent shockwaves throughout the region. Seth was transported to the Anamosa State Penitentiary, a maximum security facility in Iowa. He was placed in protective custody for a time due to the high-profile nature of the case and the fact that he once aspired to become a law enforcement officer. According to prison records, he has not spoken publicly about the case since sentencing and has filed no appeals. But for Lisa's family, the pain never left. Every May 26th is marked not only by memories of her death, but of what could have been: Zoe's birth, Lisa's career, family milestones. All of it stolen in a single act of cowardice, covered up with a lie and exposed only through persistence and evidence. Justice may have been served in court, but for those who loved Lisa, the sentence felt like only a fragment of what was lost. Lisa Teschel's murder is not just a tragic tale of love gone wrong. It's a chilling reminder that danger doesn't always come from the shadows. It can live inside the very person we trust most. Her killer didn't wear a mask or break through a window. He wore a wedding band and kissed her goodnight. He wasn't a stranger. He was her husband. Seth Teschel had the world fooled. To friends, he was a devoted partner. To family, he was a charming, motivated young man with a bright future. But beneath that polished surface, he harbored a dark, selfish desire to rid himself of responsibility, commitment, and the life he no longer wanted. And he was willing to murder to make that happen. What makes this case so haunting is how ordinary it seemed. There were no police calls, no documented fights, no outward signs of abuse. Lisa believed she was safe. She believed her husband loved her. In reality, she was sleeping beside a man who had already chosen her fate. That false sense of security is what terrifies us the most. The true horror of this story isn't just the murder, it's manipulation, the lies, the way Seth sat through his wife's funeral, comforted her grieving family, and even posted loving tributes, knowing all along that he had pulled the trigger. That kind of calculated deception is something most people can't comprehend, but it's real, and in Lisa's case, it cost 2 lives. The legal system worked. After 3 grueling trials, a jury finally saw through the smoke and mirrors. But justice doesn't bring closure. It doesn't bring Lisa back. It doesn't allow her to raise her daughter, graduate from the academy, or grow old with a man who truly loved her. Those dreams were buried the day Seth pulled that trigger. In the years following the verdict, Lisa's story has been featured in multiple true crime documentaries, podcasts, and news specials, not just because of the shocking betrayal, but because of the warning it carries. Relationships that seem healthy on the outside can hide rot beneath. Infidelity, manipulation, emotional control. These aren't just red flags. They can be precursors to something far more sinister. If Lisa's story can save just one life, her mother once said, then her death won't be in vain. The Teschel case teaches us that not all murderers wear their intentions on their sleeves. Some smile, make breakfast, and kiss you goodbye, then plan your funeral behind your back. That's the kind of evil that shatters not just lives, but communities. Lisa Teschel was more than a victim. She was a dreamer, a future mother, a daughter, a woman who worked hard and loved deeply. She should have been telling her daughter bedtime stories, not becoming the subject of one. Her voice was stolen, her life was extinguished, but her legacy lives on. In remembering Lisa, we remember all the silent victims, those with partners turned predators, whose homes became cages, and whose trust became a death sentence. This story doesn't end in a prison cell. It ends with a call to action, to recognize the warning signs, to listen to your gut, and to never assume that love can't turn lethal. The murder of Lisa Teschel wasn't the result of passion, accident, or spontaneous rage. It was premeditated, cold, calculated. A man who vowed to protect his wife and unborn daughter instead chose to end their lives in pursuit of a new beginning, one that never came. Behind Seth's quiet demeanor was a storm of selfish desire. He didn't want divorce, didn't want accountability. He wanted freedom. And in that pursuit, he stole 2 lives that had done nothing but trust and love him. Lisa Teschel was more than a victim. She was a daughter, a wife, a future mother, and a woman who deserved so much more. Her story is a chilling reminder that the people we love the most can sometimes harbor the darkest intentions.
The target of the attack, Madeline Shemitz, had already been rushed to the hospital. 19-year-old Spencer Pearson is charged with multiple counts of attempted murder and aggravated battery. He didn't speak in court today, the scars on his neck telling the story of how he tried to slash his own throat after stabbing others.
It's the day 17-year-old Madison Shemitz was stabbed outside of the restaurant more than a dozen times.
It was her ex-boyfriend who police say attacked her.
According to investigators, it was at the hands of her ex-boyfriend and left her paralyzed from the chest down.
Tonight on the 10 o'clock news, a closer look at the moments leading up to a stabbing that left the local teen paralyzed from the chest down.
Kennedy Armstrong and James Stepp running towards the attack. Armstrong jumps in to break it up while Stepp, who's in the black shorts, calls police.
That was a little chilling to see.
June 3rd, 2023. A warm Florida evening. Laughter spills from a popular restaurant in Ponte Vedra Beach. Families dine, kids chatter, and nothing seems out of place until a piercing scream cuts through the calm. In seconds, chaos replaces comfort. A young girl is lying on the pavement, bleeding out. Her mother is screaming. A bystander rushes in, only to be pulled into the violence himself. And amid the carnage stands a figure holding the blade, someone the girl once trusted. This wasn't a random act of violence. It wasn't a robbery gone wrong or a misunderstanding turned deadly. What unfolded in that parking lot was the result of weeks of obsession, stalking, and silent warnings no one could have predicted would lead to this. The victim? Madison Shemitz, just 17 years old, full of promise, and a rising athlete with her eyes set on college life. But that future was nearly stolen from her by someone who couldn't let her go, a person who believed that if he couldn't have her, no one could.
This is video from Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra from June 3rd. It's the day 17-year-old Madison Shemitz was stabbed outside of the restaurant more than a dozen times. According to investigators, it was at the hands of her ex-boyfriend and left her paralyzed from the chest down. According to a witness of the attack, this is her ex-boyfriend, Spencer Pearson, who's facing attempted murder charges walking in. You can see him walking around the restaurant. At one point, he walks not too far from where the 17-year-old and her mother are seated. Then you see him sit down. A few minutes later, Madison and her mother get up and leave. You see Pearson look towards the direction of the door, wait a bit, then exit too. This camera from outside of the restaurant shows the moment Pearson runs up to the 17-year-old and her mother. A struggle then happens in front of the vehicle.
What happened to Madison would leave a community shaken, a courtroom silenced, and a young woman fighting for her life in more ways than one. This is not just a story about a brutal attack. It's about survival, strength, and the terrifying truth that danger sometimes wears a familiar face. Madison Shemitz was like many all-American teens, vibrant, ambitious, and determined. A senior at Ponte Vedra High School, she was known for her athleticism, especially her love for softball. On the field, she was fierce and focused. Off the field, she was kind-hearted and well-loved by her peers and teachers. College scouts had already taken notice, and her future looked bright. Madison had dreams of playing college softball and making a name for herself beyond her hometown. But life wasn't just about accolades and athletic goals. Like most teenagers, she was navigating the complexities of young love, heartbreak, and self-discovery. She had dated a fellow student, Spencer Pearson, but their relationship had ended months before the attack. To most, it seemed like a typical high school breakup. Emotional, yes, but something both would eventually move past. What many didn't know was that after the breakup, Spencer's behavior began to spiral. He reportedly grew more controlling and erratic, sending unsettling messages and appearing at places Madison frequented. Friends and family noticed, and Madison herself became uneasy. She had even discussed her fears with loved ones, sensing that something about Spencer's fixation wasn't just typical post-breakup heartbreak. It felt dangerous.
My trauma truly starts from within my relationship with the defendant, even prior to June 3rd, 2023. Throughout the barely 6 months I was in a relationship with him, I had felt stripped of everything I knew I truly deserved. I knew not only did I not feel happy, I felt suffocated, trapped, manipulated, and controlled. I knew that the relationship was giving me far less than what I deserved. As someone who truly takes pride in the human they know they are, I knew I had every right to put myself first and leave a relationship. Yet what no 16-year-old girl deserves is to experience fear while ending a relationship. But once again, I was that 16-year-old girl who was forced to experience that fear.
Despite her growing concerns, Madison tried to move on. She focused on her upcoming graduation, spent time with her supportive family, and looked ahead to her future with hope. Her mother, Jacqueline Roger, was always nearby, protective, present, and proud. On that fateful day in June, the two decided to grab lunch together at a familiar spot. It was meant to be a simple outing, a break from the usual routine. What they didn't know was that Spencer Pearson had been watching and waiting. Behind what seemed like a normal teenage breakup, something much darker was building. And Madison, despite all her intuition and courage, was about to come face to face with the nightmare she had feared all along.
That was a little chilling to see when he rushed out the door and then eventually ended up attacking her.
Stepp says he saw the surveillance video Wednesday. He says the video is infuriating, but also helps him get a better understanding of the situation.
In the moment, it's based off so much adrenaline and action. So actually getting a chance to see it from the outside perspective was definitely a little different.
Madison's mom and Armstrong were also injured during the attack. And Stepp says the one thing he wants people to take away from this attack is to always help if you can.
If anyone saw something like this happen, I would just pray that they would step up and do the right thing.
It was around 4:30 p.m. when Madison and her mother arrived at Mr. Chubby's Wings, a casual restaurant nestled in a shopping plaza. They were there to enjoy a relaxing meal, laugh a little, and spend some quiet time together. But as they settled in, an ominous presence lurked nearby. Spencer Pearson. He wasn't there by chance. He had followed Madison, and this time he came armed with a knife and a plan. When Madison and her mom stepped out of the restaurant after lunch, the warm Florida sun bathed the parking lot in light. What should have been an ordinary walk to the car turned into a nightmare in seconds. Without warning, Spencer charged toward them. Witnesses later described the scene as surreal.
Oh my God, he's sliced open. Oh my God, there's more people injured.
Okay, ma'am, don't hang up.
His hand is completely just, somebody put a tourniquet on him and somebody else is on the ground and his whole hand is completely sliced open. He needs ambulance right away.
This was when, at 4:30 p.m. on June 3rd, 2023, I turned around and saw the defendant running towards me faster than I had ever seen him run before. Not knowing what was coming next, I turned and attempted to go in the opposite direction. This was when the defendant had grabbed me. I hit the ground and began feeling the attack. On that day, the defendant chose to try and take my life. He chose to try and take my mother's life, and he chose to severely harm a good and innocent stranger. Your Honor, on June 3rd, 2023, I was given my own life sentence by the defendant, and I plead with you that the defendant receives the same justified sentence and deserved punishment. Thank you.
Please quiet down. Ladies and gentlemen, please sit down. Please sit down.
Like something out of a horror film, he grabbed Madison, tackled her to the ground, and began stabbing her, over and over, 17 times. Her mother screamed, throwing herself between them, trying to pull him off. But Spencer's rage was unrelenting. As Jacqueline fought to save her daughter, he turned the knife on her too, stabbing her as she struggled. At that moment, a 23-year-old man named Kennedy Armstrong, who had just finished his meal inside, ran out to help. But bravery came at a cost. Spencer slashed and wounded him as well. Blood stained the pavement. People fled in panic, and still Spencer wasn't done. After unleashing the brutal attack, Spencer turned the knife on himself. He stabbed his own neck and tried to end his life, collapsing just feet from the girl he'd tried to destroy. First responders arrived quickly, and the chaos was nearly impossible to process. Madison was rushed to the hospital, her injuries so severe that doctors feared she might never walk again. Her spinal cord had been damaged, her lungs collapsed, but somehow she survived. Spencer also survived. And when he opened his eyes in that hospital bed days later, he wasn't met with the warmth of family or the concern of friends. He was met with shackles and the beginning of a long road through the criminal justice system. But for Madison, the hardest journey was just beginning.
911, what's the evidence of the emergency? Somebody just got stabbed right in front of Tubby. This boy has just stabbed a girl.
You guys need to come quick.
We need an ambulance. You don't have to be scared.
The target of the attack, Madeline Shemitz, had already been rushed to the hospital. 19-year-old Spencer Pearson is charged with multiple counts of attempted murder and aggravated battery.
According to investigators, it was at the hands of her ex-boyfriend and left her paralyzed from the chest down.
The investigation into the attack on Madison Shemitz unfolded rapidly, but its details painted a chilling picture of premeditation and obsession. Law enforcement arrived at the crime scene within minutes of the 911 calls. Witnesses were shaken, many still in disbelief at what they had seen. A young woman nearly murdered in broad daylight by someone who once claimed to love her. Police found the knife at the scene stained with blood and immediately took Spencer Pearson into custody after he was stabilized. As detectives pieced together the timeline, it became clear that this was no spontaneous outburst. Spencer had been stalking Madison in the days leading up to the attack. Cell phone data and eyewitness accounts revealed he had been watching her movements, following her, and harboring growing resentment after their breakup. He had even made disturbing statements to friends and classmates, comments about hurting himself and others, laced with anger and desperation. Yet no one imagined he would act on them with such brutal finality. Madison's injuries were catastrophic. In interviews with police, her family recounted how she had expressed fear about Spencer's behavior weeks prior. Messages showed a pattern of harassment and mental instability, something investigators quickly identified as key evidence of intent. Prosecutors began building a case for attempted first-degree murder, noting that Spencer had brought the knife with him to the restaurant, had waited for Madison to appear, and then carried out the attack in front of numerous witnesses. There was no doubt this had been planned. The media soon picked up the story, and the community responded with shock and horror. A GoFundMe page was set up to help Madison's family cover her extensive medical expenses. Vigils were held. Support poured in from across the country, especially from women who saw their own experiences reflected in Madison's story. Stories of partners who turned violent when told no. Meanwhile, Spencer remained in custody, charged with multiple felonies, 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder, and 1 count of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. Despite his claim of wanting to end his own life, the state was clear. He would be held accountable. As court proceedings began, the evidence continued to mount. Surveillance footage, witness testimonies, and medical reports all pointed to one thing. This wasn't a moment of madness. It was a calculated attempt to destroy a life he could no longer control. And through it all, Madison remained silent, fighting for her recovery, learning how to breathe on her own again, how to move, how to speak. The legal battle was just beginning, but for Madison and her family, the war had already been waged in blood. The trial of Spencer Pearson became one of the most closely watched legal proceedings in St. Johns County. The courtroom was tense, packed with reporters, supporters of Madison, and members of the local community who had followed the case from the beginning. But before the trial could fully unfold, an unexpected development changed the course of the legal battle.
As to counts 1 and 3 of the information, you are adjudicated guilty. You are sentenced to serve the remainder of your life in prison.
Spencer Pearson entered a guilty plea. There would be no drawn-out trial, no jury deliberation, and no chance for him to escape responsibility. Instead, he admitted to everything. Every stab, every scream, every calculated moment of violence. By pleading guilty to 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder and 1 count of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, Pearson faced the maximum penalties under Florida law. The state didn't hold back during the sentencing hearing. Prosecutors laid out the brutal nature of the attack, arguing that it was cold, premeditated, and sadistically executed in a public place, showing complete disregard for human life. They emphasized how Madison, a bright and promising teenager, was left with life-altering injuries, physically and emotionally scarred forever. Madison herself, now 18, stood before the court during sentencing. Her voice trembled but never broke. She described the terror of being attacked by someone she once cared about, the pain of fighting for every breath, and the long road she had walked since that day in June. Her mother, Jacqueline Roger, also gave an emotional statement, recounting how she watched her daughter bleed out in front of her and how she still wakes up at night, haunted by the image of Spencer lunging at them with a knife. Both women showed immense strength, refusing to let fear or trauma silence them. The courtroom was silent as the judge handed down the sentence. Life in prison without the possibility of parole. Spencer Pearson showed little emotion, no apology, no remorse. For Madison and her family, it wasn't closure, but it was justice. The judge's words were firm. This was an act of pure evil, and society could not risk letting someone like Pearson walk free again. Outside the courtroom, the public response was one of support and solidarity. The courage shown by Madison and her family resonated far beyond Florida. Advocacy groups began using her story to raise awareness about teen dating violence, stalking, and the importance of early intervention. But even as the legal chapter came to a close, another battle continued. The fight for recovery, for normalcy, for healing. The trial had ended, but for Madison Shemitz, the scars of that day would remain long after the headlines faded. In the months following Spencer Pearson's sentencing, the world didn't go back to normal for Madison Shemitz. It was transformed into something entirely new. Recovery wasn't just physical, it was mental, emotional, and deeply personal. Madison had been left temporarily paralyzed from the chest down. Doctors weren't sure if she'd ever walk again. She had to relearn the most basic functions, breathing without machines, sitting up, lifting her arms. Each step forward was painful, each small victory monumental. But Madison was never alone. Her mother, Jacqueline, remained at her side throughout every hospital stay, physical therapy session, and emotional breakdown. The community rallied too. Local fundraisers, awareness walks, and a powerful outpouring of support from around the country helped fuel her recovery. And then, in a moment that stunned everyone, less than a year after the attack, Madison walked across the stage at her high school graduation. Slowly, deliberately, with braces and assistance, she proved that the man who tried to steal her future would never define it. While Madison was healing, her family was still fighting. In late 2024, they filed a civil lawsuit against Spencer Pearson, his parents, and Mr. Chubby's Wings, the restaurant where the attack occurred. The suit alleged that Pearson's parents had enabled his dangerous behavior by ignoring red flags and even providing him with a knife. The restaurant was accused of failing to maintain a safe environment despite visible warning signs of Pearson's presence that day. The legal team argued that Madison's suffering was preventable, that someone should have intervened before it reached that level of violence. Simultaneously, national organizations began to use Madison's story as a case study in what happens when teen dating violence escalates without intervention. Her name became a symbol, not of victimhood, but of survival. She started speaking out, not just about what happened to her, but what could happen to anyone if early signs of obsession and control are dismissed. And in a powerful recognition of heroism, the Carnegie Hero Fund awarded both Jacqueline Roget and bystander Kennedy Armstrong with the Carnegie Medal, an honor reserved for civilians who risked their lives to save others.
Kennedy Armstrong hero. This court has no quarrel with that assessment. Kennedy Armstrong is most certainly a hero. And but for his actions and the actions of Madison's mother, this defendant would have successfully killed Madison Shimmitz.
It was a tribute to the bravery that stopped Spencer from doing even more damage, and a reminder that in darkness, there are always those who step up. Still, trauma doesn't vanish with justice. For Madison, there are scars that no surgery can fix, but in every step she takes, every story she shares, she's reclaiming what was nearly stolen. Her strength, her story, her life. The story of Madison Shimmitz is not just a case in a courtroom or a headline in the news. It's a haunting reminder of how love can turn into obsession, how danger can hide in plain sight, and how resilience can rise from the depths of unimaginable pain. What happened in that Florida parking lot wasn't just an act of violence. It was a declaration of control, an attempt to silence a voice that had chosen to move on. But instead of silence, Madison's voice grew louder. She survived 17 stab wounds, a collapsed lung, and paralysis. She survived betrayal from someone she once trusted, and she survived a moment that was meant to end her story, only to begin a new one, written in her own strength. Madison's journey has become a beacon for countless others, young women who've been followed, manipulated, or controlled but didn't know how to speak out. Her survival gives them permission to act, to speak, and to demand safety.
Any of the mitigation that this court has considered, there are just certain crimes that are committed that merit the maximum possible sentence. And this court finds that this is one of them. Spencer Pearson, you have entered a plea of guilty to 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder with a weapon. As to counts 1 and 3 of the information, you are adjudicated guilty. You are sentenced to serve the remainder of your life in prison. As to count 5, you are adjudicated guilty. You are sentenced to serve 30 years in Florida State Prison.
Justice came in the form of a life sentence, but true justice lies in the life Madison continues to build, one that refuses to be defined by trauma. Her walk across the graduation stage wasn't just a personal milestone, it was a statement that she is here, that she is healing, that she is unbreakable. And while the legal system may have closed its chapter on Spencer Pearson, The impact of his actions will linger in the lives he tried to destroy. But in the face of that shadow, Madison stands defiantly in the light, reminding us all that monsters don't win and that survival is sometimes the most powerful kind of justice. If you or someone you know is experiencing signs of dating violence or obsessive behavior, don't wait. Speak up. Seek help. Because one voice can save a life, and one life, like Madison's, can change the world.